Oh my God. Oh my God. What a nightmare. So guys, I was just talking to myself for 15 minutes because I thought the stream was live again. But I didn't realize on YouTube there's a go live button that I had to click. So, what a load of bullshit. But hey, we're back. Welcome to part 2 of episode 364 of the Xbox 2 podcast. Rand's internet has fully died, which means we no longer have Rand for the show. But Gaz has graciously stepped in to pick up the slack. So hello there to Gaz. Yeah, tell the good people where they can find you on the internet, Gaz, before we get back into the topics.
Bruv, you can find me here, lad. The place to be, bruv. You should have. I was listening to this man talk to himself for 15 minutes. I'm like, bruh, I'm pretty sure you're not live, and he couldn't hear me. It was amazing. But you were doing such a good job. You were in it. I was listening to you. I'm like, bro, I'm getting exclusive podcast.
I can't believe it, man. I absolutely can't believe it.
Man.
But yeah,
bro. Audio levels okay, guys? Just let us know. Yeah. Where's my video?
I can't. I don't have a setup to feed Gaz's video into the show at the moment. But
bro, did you just kick me out, lad?
I didn't. Maybe an admin did or something. But
brother, Reform Party came in power quick.
Oh God, no. But yeah, we seem to be back. Sorry about the technical issues. It is what it is. You know, it happens sometimes. Rand's internet's gone down. But I thought to make up for it, I'll put my camera on, which is the camera we were using for XB2 Ultimate this past week. So, yeah, if you see me in the chat, that's not Rand, it's me. Rand doesn't go on the internet. I had to log into YouTube as Rand to get the stream key and stuff. So yeah, we're back for part 2. So what we were talking about before the internet exploded, before Rand's internet exploded, it was the fact that, I don't know, there's a potential expectation here that Microsoft might be trying to get ahead of the curve to some degree with regulators because, as we know, Apple has been forced by the US government to open up its storefront fully to Fortnite. And Fortnite is back on iOS in America for the first time in God knows how long. A year, 2 years, 3 years, something like that. I have no idea. Time is an abstract concept to me now. So I suppose the question I would put to you guys is there, we all know, guys, how you feel about Microsoft's multi-platform strategy. You don't like to see Microsoft capitulate. You're not a very happy boy about this. But I do want to put it to you guys. Do you think there's at least some possibility that Microsoft could be right and maybe predicting that there is a potential future where regulators just institute some kind of blanket legislation targeting Google and Apple and just being like, yeah, we're going to ban closed ecosystems now. And just PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo just being caught up in the crossfire. Do you think that's something Microsoft predicting? Did
Florian Mulia tell you this? Because, bruv, I don't know where this stuff is coming from. That is no way, shape, or form going to be anything like that. There's not even remotely a chance where a blanket piece of legislation will deregulate and basically mandate platforms to open their legs like Phil Spencer did for Xbox exclusives everywhere. It's not going to happen. That is not reality. Now, Xbox may be positioning themselves to do this to force Apple and Google to open their environment because that's quite lucrative there in the mobile front as well. So because they get to eat their more established piece of the pie when it comes to the mobile front.
So what you're saying is, like, if Microsoft does eventually, because Microsoft's been involved in trying to get Apple's ecosystem open up, Microsoft wouldn't have a legislative, figurative leg to stand on if they were like, Apple, open up your shit, and Microsoft itself was operating a closed ecosystem. Is that potentially something that could be used against them in an argument? Because everybody remember, Gaz here is a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm not. You guys keep saying that, but I'm not a thingy mergers and acquisitions lawyer. You got Luke Steele, who's an amazing lawyer on that front. He's like, I literally do property, Jez. You guys want to buy a house, bloody butt? I'll get you a house, okay? Commercial and residential conveyancing, some litigation now.
So you even though you're a property lawyer, you're gonna potentially understand the way sort of legislative process plays out more so than me, you know.
Yeah.
I have like my only experience with the law is Grand Theft Auto, pretty much. So
And that one night where you got caught behind the street. But no, but listen, I can just have a general kind of a vague understanding of it. But bear in mind, a lot of this is based on, it's not just pure law as well. There's a lot of policy stuff, a lot of trade policy and the way ebb and flow of markets, competition. And we're in a really weird position right now with the US, the trade war and tariff wars, and China. It's the East versus West kind of jostling for power there. And then, so you can't just look at it strictly through a legal lens. There are policy considerations here, but what's driving all this? Is this the next bit of coping for Xbox fans to say, well, maybe, this was like the last time when the CMA, why are we talking about this? ABK is done. Are we not like over this hill? Like, I feel like there's this bit of copium that's coming in, but trying to reconcile Microsoft multi-plat strategy, because it was forward-facing, because one day everyone is going to be multi-plat. That may be the case, but not for the reasons why you might think Xbox is architecting all of this. I actually think if everything's going to go multi-plat, it's if somehow Xbox can release can disrupt things in the console space that are already heading into a platform agnostic area where they somehow deliver. And I'm a massive disclaimer. I know that weird Oliver guy who just sits there on his arse all day just recording us is going to take this out of context. But if Microsoft delivers a platform agnostic hybrid console and it's put its games everywhere, it's doing remarkably well as a third party publisher, better than it has as a Xbox only platform holder for years. It's 4 years. It's insane. Actually, the timing is uncanny, and that's a big part thanks to Sony. But if for some of the, because there's two camps to this. I don't know which camp you sit on here, Jez, because I think you were saying it's impossible for Sony to block Microsoft's hybrid device from running.
No.
Or stopping PlayStation games from there.
No,
or you saying the other?
It was. I think it was. Was it Xbox era? I think it was Xbox era is camp Sony can't block it. I'm camp Sony can block it. But I think nobody really knows for sure. I think I don't know for sure. I think there aren't necessarily rules that Sony can leverage to block games on a per device basis. But I think Sony has enough clout in the industry where they can get special treatment. Is my pessimistic view, and that's based on nothing. It's just a pessimistic kind of view. I think Sony potentially can block certain games on certain pieces of hardware because
I think so too.
We've seen it happen. There are certain games that you can't run on NVIDIA GeForce Now, and GeForce Now is literally just you log into your Steam account when you use GeForce Now, and you access your library on GeForce Now, except publishers have decided certain games can't run on GeForce Now, even if you own them. So there already is a per-device policy that Sony could tap into here, and they could say, look, these publishers, you let them block their game on GeForce Now. Why can't we block our game on Xbox? Even if there isn't a policy specifically tailored towards that with regards to local hardware today, I think Sony has enough clout potentially to get that policy bent. And Rave Damas is in chat. Jez, GeForce Now is not Steam, but it is. It is Steam. When you open a PC game on GeForce Now, your Steam account loads up in a window on Steam. It's your Steam account. It's just that you only have access to the games.
Is that really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, try it out. Try it out for free. You can try it out for yourself. It's your Steam account you log into. So it's not like it's just that NVIDIA doesn't have the license to host those games. So you could easily just be like Sony could just be like, well, we don't want to give Xbox the license to run the games on their platform or something like that. All I'm saying is this is an example of a per device policy. This is an example of a per device policy, for people in chat who are reading. And I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying it potentially could happen. There's also been games that are blocked from running on the Steam Deck because the developers think it won't be a good experience for the end user. Most developers are just like, yeah, you can try and run it, but it'll run like trash or whatever. But there's other developers that either lock the game out or lock features out. So there are per device capabilities on Steam is the point. But
you released an article today, or this week actually, talking about Xbox actually doing this Steam device, like they're really going for it. That's really exciting to me because I just think that's quite massively disruptive. And I think I saw Derek from Derek Strickland, or what his name is, and he just doesn't he doesn't see why they would do that.
I mean, my article's like, honestly, right, I'll put it out there now. I don't know for sure if Steam is going to be on the next Xbox. It's just that there's a lot of rumors about it right now. So it's fun to speculate about what's going to happen there, right? So
wait, Jez, you got to admit, yeah, I got one thing. I'm a partial insider, bro. I get the Hellblade 2 thing right, though. You're doubting me.
We'll get
to coming from. You didn't want to believe me, bro. November 2023.
We'll get to that, guys, because I did put an article out in January saying that Hellblade.
January 24, bro. I'm telling you, November 23, bro. You absolutely
sure. I'm saying that like, yeah, I didn't believe it at the time, but then. Yeah, eventually. It just became apparent, right? But we'll get to that, guys. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, pal. We'll get to that. But like, just on this topic of ecosystems and stuff like that. Just to round it off, and before we move on to the next topic, because Rand actually did build a topic list that I'll try and adhere to for the show. But but if it does look like there's a future where ecosystems just end up becoming open, Microsoft will have been ahead of the curve. And when the systems are so similar, it's almost like you just sort of cutting your legs off to spite your body. What's the phrase? Cut your nose off to spite your face. Cutting your legs off? Where did that come from? Like the wrench in the bucket thing. I don't know. You cut your nose off to spite your face. Like I genuinely, guys, do you agree with me on this? I don't. If Helldivers 2 was on Xbox, Sony would make a ton of money, and I don't think it'd hurt them at all. Do you agree with me on that? I don't think it'd hurt them at all.
So, interesting on that point. In terms of hurting, immediately, no. Immediately, first of all, if you get an established IP, now you say the next big Naughty Dog game, and that was coming day in, day out on the next Xbox, would that hurt PlayStation? Yes. Would Helldivers 2 that's come out
several years after the
potentially
fact?
Plateaued.
Yeah. Several years after the fact now.
Yeah, 7 years after the fact now with Helldivers 2, I don't think it would. In fact, they would make a lot more money. I don't see any negative from it. It's not going to really pull people away from PlayStation. I mean, do you really think that feasibly people will be like, all right, I'm not going to play on PlayStation. You've got Helldivers 2 out on Xbox. Who would do that?
Yeah, and most of the players are on PC anyway. So it's like
exactly.
It's like, and also it would help out the dev because Arrowhead isn't a big dev. So it's also like, why not throw Arrowhead a bone and give their game another boost?
I don't care about Arrowhead. They care about themselves. This is Sony you're talking about, man.
Well, Arrowhead themselves also came out, and they were pretty. I think Arrowhead are a little bit salty about the way Sony's dictated some things to them because they weren't happy about the PSN integration. They were pretty vocal about that. They also weren't happy about geo-blocking, PlayStation geo-blocking the game in certain territories. Which is another bit of control publishers have over the way games appear on Steam. They can choose which countries they want the games to appear in, and Sony's geo-blocked the game arbitrarily in a bunch of territories where it can't operate their account systems in, because the thought process is there that eventually Sony is going to force people to use their account system, even though they don't right now. So I don't think it would hurt them at all if they put it on Xbox.
It won't. They'd make a lot more money. You know what I think though, Jez? Xbox, Sony will be looking. I know people are saying, "Oh, Sony's making 30% free off the back of Microsoft by doing nothing, by get all these games on their platform." But, bro, Sony are not naive as well. They're going to be looking at that chart and how much money Xbox is raking in money now, like madly.
So let's for the next. Let's move on to that topic.
Sorry, I keep bringing this topic. Yeah,
no. I think it's a good segue into the next topic, which is Xbox dominating the sales charts in April. So just for those who don't know and those who those who might have missed it, I will pull up the figures here on the old windowscentral.com. But Xbox had a really dominant sales month in April, according to our pals over at Circana, who are an analytics firm in the United States, and they're very highly regarded amongst the industry for providing accurate details about game sales, engagement, console sales, stuff like that. They used to be called MPD, if you didn't know. So if I can actually literally find where this article was. So yeah, so Xbox absolutely dominated the sales charts in April in the United States, and you can extrapolate that out to other Western regions as well, where the buying habits are very, very similar. Oh man, where am I finding it now?
I'm looking at the chart right now, and the Circana, how you pronounce it, like Circana? You spell
Circana. What do you?
I don't know how it's pronounced, but it just sounds nice.
Yeah. So I got the chart here. So April 2025, top 20 best-selling premium games, US dollar sales, physical, digital, from digital data sharing publishers, excludes add-on content. So it should be noted that there are some publishers here who don't include the data. I don't know off the top of my head which publishers don't, but we've got number one right in at number one is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Microsoft Corp. Number two is Forza Horizon 5, coming back up from position 42, rising all the way back up to number 2 because it's now on PlayStation, Microsoft Corp. We've got MLB The Show 25, which is Sony. We got Minecraft in at number 4, thanks to the movie. Very good movie, by the way. Have you seen the Minecraft movie, guys?
I'm not watching that, bro.
Why not? Is it too low, bro, for you?
I've never seen anything Minecraft. Nothing appeals to me about it.
You're a PC gamer now. You have to play Minecraft.
I've never played Minecraft.
You've never played Minecraft ever in your life?
I've never played Minecraft in my life.
Why?
The only thing I played of Minecraft is the Minecraft character in Smash Brothers. That's it.
Why not? Minecraft's cool, man. You can build shit. Do you not want to build
I don't know, man.
Shit?
I've never tried it. Once my mates forced me to try Roblox, and I regretted those 40 minutes of my life. But Minecraft,
you're too cool for Minecraft. Damn, that's crazy.
I've never tried it. I don't know what I'm missing, but I look at it, what other people play, and I don't know what it is about this game that people love. But maybe I'm missing something.
I don't know. You build shit. You can build your house. You can tame a wolf. That's it. That's the game. But and then number 5 was Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was number 1 the previous month. It's interesting, like some people were saying, like, oh look, Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Shadows did really well, but I've seen other commentators say like Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't do well enough, so I don't know what's going on there. And then you've got Indiana Jones.
People don't want it to be good. Some want it to be good, and it's just that.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried it myself yet. It's in the eternal backlog. And then you've got Indiana Jones in number 6, Microsoft Corp. And then you've got Call of Duty in number 7, Microsoft Corp.
It was 118 and went to 6. The power of PlayStation.
Yeah. And then it's a bunch of Take-Two interactive games, Grand Theft Auto still, Red Dead Redemption still, WWE
Sony
2K.
got something in there. Woo!
What did Sony get? What did Sony get?
Sony's number freaking 13 with The Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2 remastered? Did that just come out?
Oh, maybe MLB The Show. Do you count that as... Yeah, you do, isn't it? That's MLB The Show. Sony's IP?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
MLB The Show is Sony, even though even though on the list it says multiple video game manufacturers. So let's be kind and give Sony MLB The Show and give them also... We'll also give them Last of Us 2 remastered, which...
At number 13.
Is barely remastered. Like, I can't really tell the difference between them, personally. I've got it. I downloaded it. I was like, is it remastered? I can't even tell. And then you've got, like, Elder Scrolls Online doing well for some reason. Probably because of Oblivion, actually. So that's Microsoft again. So, yeah, they've just completely dominated the chart all up. Which is...
they're killing it, man.
They're killing it, yeah. And then you've got...
they're just gonna keep going and going with the outlook of games coming out. It's Microsoft I think, look, Sony may be happy in the sense that they'll benefit and profit in the short term with this stuff. But I do think, and I know this, people are going to clip this, this is copium. But I really do think this is the case. Sony can't be resting on their laurels watching what another platform holder. And bear in mind, everyone's like, oh, but they're just another third-party publisher. They're a platform holder. And they're getting bolstering. It not only cements Microsoft's commitment in gaming, which $90 billion plus was already committed, but now is actually profitable, going to make sizable chunks in their pie charts at the end, but Microsoft are going to account for their numbers, and Satya Nadella, that will be happy to see. So he'll be pacified, more investment in gaming, and then they're going to be seeing all this stuff. You think Sony, what's Sony going to do? Just sit there and go, oh, never mind, they're a third-party publisher and a potentially platform holder. They're maybe potentially releasing a hybrid console, which might be featuring our games, but we're just going to sit here. We're not worried because we're making 30% off you. If anyone just naively thinks that, and Sony's just going to sit there and not combat that, I don't know what to say to you. Then okay, just rest in that knowledge and let's see how things turn out.
I think as well, it's not just like Sony watching what Microsoft does and feeling greedy about it. It's also the shareholders. You have to remember, Sony, like Microsoft, is a publicly traded company, and like it or not, Microsoft is sort of redefining what constitutes success now. You even had Sony in their own investor meeting saying, "Don't judge us on console sales, judge us on monthly active users," which is, Microsoft strategy, Tencent strategy, and it's Tencent's model really that Microsoft has pursued here. Tencent owns 50% of Fortnite. They own all of the Riot client, League of Legends, all those games. Tencent is a huge gaming company, and it's often not something anyone really talks about because they don't have their own ecosystem or console to speak of. They just put their games everywhere, or in as many places as possible. So that's sort of like, that's why it's relevant, because I think it puts shareholder pressure on Sony to potentially explore following suit, which is why we've seen Sony put out a sprint of service kind of games, which, for better or worse, just doesn't seem to have particularly resonated particularly well. I mean, we've got like,
they don't know how to do them.
Yeah, I mean, we got Forbes Paul Tassi out here saying like, Marathon's dead on arrival, declaring it dead before it's even launched, and then we had the Concord stuff from before, a spate of cancelled games like the Last of Us factions and all that kind of stuff. And
Jade Raymond cutting from her.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's already having an impact on Sony. You could say that Microsoft's strategy is already making them think more about service games and how that factors into their future. But at the same time, Sony's benefited from Xbox doing well as well, because obviously Sony sells Xbox's games on their behalf and takes a pretty huge cut of it. So
absolutely.
But at the same
time, in the long term, Sony doesn't look at this two-dimensionally, man. They look at this in the long term. Their position is a lot more fragile, irrespective of their first place. When a monolith, gigantic megacorp like Microsoft is there, feeding them, if they're reliant on the giant megacorp, that can disrupt their business, and they don't have any safety rails in place. Forget the hybrid console and blocking PlayStation games on the Xbox Next. I'm just talking about the general strategy there. They're going to get, like you said, investor pressure there, and they're going to be looking at the numbers there. And I said earlier, I tweeted her some time ago, don't be surprised if a non-Bungie game from a first-party Sony studio that is a gas game comes out on Xbox, because I don't think that will harm PlayStation long term anyway, because PlayStation markets itself to casuals. Most people buy PlayStation because they want FIFA, they want your usual casual stuff, Madden's, all that stuff. Then you've got the people who really buy it for the name that it's known for. It's first party, single player, blah blah blah, sad dad games or whatever you call them. They're really nice statement pieces, but I don't think they're gas games, or so far anyway, or just gas games in general are the mass appeal. Why would it do them any harm for releasing their next, what's their next game? They must have been cancelled, apart from Marathon. I can't think of what. What's their next game? What's their non-Bungie gas game?
Yotai?
Fair Games hasn't been cancelled yet, I guess. You could say Fair Games.
Oh, Gas Game. Their next game is Yotai, right? Goes to Yotai. But I don't know what their next...
It's not Gas.
No, yeah, I know. But their next Gas game, a multiplayer game, I have no idea.
I think maybe you could say Fair Games, assuming it releases, even though no one really had high hopes for it because Jade Raymond's just cut before the playtest. But say for Fair Games, you're telling me it's going to harm them if Fair Games comes out on Xbox. Is it going to benefit them or harm them? Is it going to reduce the value proposition of the PlayStation console where Fair Games doesn't come out on Xbox? No chance. It's
Fair Games just lost its studio head, right? Jade Raymond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fair. But they have gummy bears. Why is gummy bears? Anyway, so I said this and a lot of people came at me, oh yeah, Hopium, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, if you're Sony, I'm like, release the Gas games on Xbox. There's a lot of online players are on Xbox, even though the dwindling console user base, blah, 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 it's still not irrelevant, immaterial. So that, that's where you'll see. That will not shock me. You heard it here first. Give me my flowers when that happens. I'm saying it's going to happen. There you go, safe. I'm doubling down on it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's interesting when you look at the year-to-date list where it's like Microsoft's got the 3rd spot, the 5th spot, the 13th spot year-to-date sales, and those are for Oblivion is right in at number 3 for the most sales of the year. I think that must have done much better than they expected, frankly, because it launched to little to no fanfare.
Absolutely. And for the 2nd April in a row, Microsoft has the more best-selling games on PlayStation's store than Sony's own games did.
Yeah, so...
embarrassing.
But, like a lot of people in chat are saying, and also people have said this to me on Twitter, like, who cares about sales, right? And, it's about games at the end of the day. And to that, I say games cost money to make. And if there's one thing that people have also criticised the AAA industry for over the years is that there's been a decline in quality, perceived or real. I don't know. I mean, that's not for me to say. But, you have to assume if, Bethesda's getting a shitload of extra money from this port, and also Virtual Studios getting money from the port, Microsoft's getting money from the port. That money's like, yeah, a bunch of it's going to go to stock buybacks and dividends, but a bunch more of it will be reinvested in, hopefully, naively, improving the quality of those games, like your Elder Scrolls 6 and stuff like that, There has to be, like, reams of feedback they took from Starfield, hopefully. They took from Starfield when they're building Elder Scrolls 6, and it's like, okay, well, we failed on this part, and we failed on this part, and we need this much more investment to do XYZ and stuff like this. So sales matter, and if Microsoft is one of the big 3 that is often being criticized about quality of their games, Redfall, Crackdown, poor sales too, the perception that Microsoft doesn't make high-quality games is something that they earned during the Xbox One generation with those games, like Crackdown, like, all the $30 direct-to-digital kind of games like Recore and Redfall. Redfall did huge amount of brand damage because people were like, oh, look, Microsoft bought Bethesda and this is the kind of quality we can expect now. So you can sort of like... at least to some degree, hope that the money's going to be reinvested in sort of trying to bring that quality bar back up. I think Microsoft has been putting out quality more recently.
Well, they're dominating the charts for a reason. Even the one metric, and I put it to the PlayStation guys, you guys always champion sales, and I guess Xbox guys have always shied away from it because their numbers haven't been favorable. Now the sales are there, the critical reception is there, the zeitgeist when it comes to conversations like Elder Scrolls came in, you've got Doom, and all of these games are massively in the conversation. They're critically reviewed well. What you have no leg to stand on about Xbox games not being good when Xbox games are outselling, or there being more pre-orders on the PlayStation Store for Xbox games and pre-installs than PlayStation games. That argument is gone about the quality. I know it's not a static thing. It's it has to remain. They have to continue this, and we need to keep seeing that. But this is a big change for Microsoft. This is a big change for Xbox. We have to give them their flowers. It's not, they haven't delivered the 90+ bangers, like there's still that desire in the Xbox camp to really, apart from Forza Horizon, let's just see that. And I know in the Metacritic it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. You need that big, Game of the Year contender. So there's that. That will help Xbox discharge that curse, because it's a generationally long stain. Extended by the Xbox Series early years, so we need to see some more of this quality. I think Fable, Perfect Dark, these are the two titles, and Gears E-Day are the big ones that can really change things up. This kind of consistent quality, it's Microsoft has never been this consistent in years. It's so ironic that it does it as soon as it capitulates, becomes third multiplat, but it has done it, and I don't think even the most ardent of haters would have to stretch themselves to say that Xbox hasn't upped its quality mark. And Xbox Game Pass is I boycott it for political reasons, but it's a painful cancellation on my part, because I'm like, bloody hell, there's so many games coming out for this thing. That bloody Warhammer 1, the remaster's been announced for. I'm like, why God, why are you punishing me more than what for? But yeah, it's great. It's great news. Xbox, good stuff. Not in Stella. I'm not happy with their multi-plat strategy. I'm happy as a PC gamer. Steam is still dank, and it absolutely defecates on everything. But Xbox is doing really well, and you can see that. Observe the energy that's in the air. But although I do cringe when I'm saying Xbox is the best box and the X logo signs. I'm like, bruh, this is not the brand I rallied behind. But I can respect Xbox upping the quality mark. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird transition, right? I mean, I think what really bothers a lot of people is the potential that it will shrink the platform and thus developers will leave. I think most reasonable people don't really care who plays their games. I think personally, I think there's definitely there is console war element.
Reasonable? What the?
I think there's some console war element there, but it's like, I think, can most reasonable people agree that it would be better if every game was on every platform? Isn't that really fine, really? The developers making more money leading to hopefully better games, rather than this weird fragmented universe we live in now, where everyone's just sort of making piecemeal amounts. I don't know, but, this besides the point. I sort of think that the showcase will give us a better glimpse into where Xbox is going. I think we're going to see PlayStation and Nintendo Switch logos, but I also think we're going to see a ton of Xbox Play Anywhere and PC stuff, and sort of just being like, yeah, if you're in our ecosystem, you get these benefits. Like I was playing Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun last night with my Xbox save on my Legion Go, because I didn't want to turn my Xbox on and I wanted to play in bed. It's just those kind of exclusive features which. Right now, a lot of people don't have access to or aren't very well developed because, like everyone knows, Lenovo Legion Go experience isn't the best on Windows, but they'll get there. And I think that's more interesting than what PlayStation is doing, personally speaking, as someone who is sort of between PC and Xbox as a gamer. But anyway, Rand. Gaz,
I've taken over, Rand. Goodbye.
Yeah, you've possessed Rand's body. Gaz, you did mention Xbox Game Pass being on a tear right now, and that is one of the listed topics. So, you're not a Game Pass subscriber right now, but you said that you are looking across with some envy. We did talk about Warhammer 40k remastered, Space Marine remastered, coming exclusively to Game Pass earlier, inexplicably not on PlayStation apparently. For reasons as of yet unknown. But if I have a quick mosey on over to what is coming to Game Pass, Game Pass has been on an absolute tear. What games have you guys been playing on Game Pass recently? Let us know in the chat or in the comments. But obviously recently we got the Retro Classics cloud gaming platform with Pitfall and stuff like that. We got Monster Train 2, which Zach Riley was shouting out in the chat earlier today. We've also got Doom the Dark Ages, which, there's some controversy about that, which we'll talk about in a minute, which, seems like a solid Doom game in of itself. Warhammer Vermintide 2's recently come back to Game Pass. I think that was there before, left, and then came back. Revenge of the Savage Planet, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Dredge, Anno 1800.
Are you forgetting the Game of the Year contender?
Yeah, I mean, Blueprints, Expedition 33, Oblivion. You know, we go further back. Grand Theft Auto 5's back in there. Grand Theft Auto Online. Diablo 3's in there now. And then South of Midnight, Atomfall, Stalker 2. Like, since December last year...
Metaphor Recantasia is joining it soon as well. I bought it, but yeah.
Yeah, Metaphor's joining. The Finals is there. I didn't even know that was there. And then there's like a bunch of smaller indie games, like Enter the Gungeon's there. Balattro's in there. Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader's in there. I didn't even know Rogue Trader was there. I just bought that. I didn't have to buy it.
Yeah, Brad, that's the thing with Game Pass.
There's shitloads there. Like I really feel like, and then also we've got the promise of later on Ninja Gaiden, and there's a bunch of games that are already announced for Game Pass, like the Alters. Alters is on the way, and
oh yeah, you had nice things to say about that game.
Yeah, the Alters is brilliant, and Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which looks like maybe it'll scratch the
Such
Wukong.
Sick variety, man.
Yeah,
bloody Microsoft. If they got their
Tony
nonsense
Hawk
in order, man, that would save me so much money.
Yeah, Tony Hawk as well is coming.
Tony Hawk.
It's absurd. So, and also, guys, with regards to Cicana, they also said Microsoft's hardware sales were up 8% year over year, which is the first increase they've had in many quarters, many months, I think, especially year over year. So, do you think part of this is? Do you think Game Pass is cracking the mainstream now? Or is it just is this all it can do? Is this, are they actually wasting money because they're putting too much stuff
I don't think they're
into
wasting money at all. I think now with their multi-plat strategy, and they're killing it on sales on PlayStation, they can be so relaxed with the Game Pass thing. The Game Pass survive. The one thing I will say about this whole multi-plat strategy, which I'm not a fan of, is the fact that Game Pass, which is always a risk-taking thing where a big company, only a company like Microsoft could front, it just eases the pressure off this disruptive service even more, which I irrespective of my political views, I think is an amazing service. It's so necessary in an industry of today, and a lot of indie devs and AA and AAA devs wax lyrical about it for a reason. And I think that Game Pass is actually permeating the masses. If you deliver this kind of consistent quality, I'm seeing so many people who wouldn't even dare put Game Pass in their mouth. Like my brother, who's a PC guy, World of Warcraft fiend like you, and he's just like, the Oblivion is coming out, and he's like, it's a remake. He was so excited. It's on Game Pass. I'm gonna get Game Pass. He's got Game Pass multiple times now. There's Expedition. That's on Game Pass. Okay, I'm hearing from people I would never hear Game Pass from. I would be selling it. I'm like, bro, have you tried Game Pass? And they'd be like, shut up. But now they're like, oh, wow, Game Pass. So I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm not seeing much. I still think Microsoft is a bit dull when it comes to marketing stuff. If they double down on it and, they just did a very simple edit of boom, Expedition 33, this, but the games that you just listed. Just a simple sizzle reel, boom, all on Game Pass day one, and Call of Duty just to add a bloody... How can you not sell it, bloody Microsoft, you bastard? Sell it, bastard. So easy to sell, bastard. But Satya Nadella doesn't want to do that for some reason. It's still, I think, is making a lot of waves. I think Game Pass, don't be surprised to see Game Pass numbers start to see some really impressive spikes if you sustain that quality. And why not? But I still think Microsoft needs to do a little bit more to get that into the masses, because the mass market, I think for the most part, is still quite oblivious to it. If you unless, of course, Microsoft, there's this element of me that thinks, well, you know what? The reason why Microsoft isn't advertising maybe that much is because they're really enjoying more the a la carte sales on PlayStation, because they're probably making more money, or they're getting the best of both worlds.
Do you think then that Microsoft is using the money they make on PlayStation to further the library of Game Pass with third-party publishers? Are they like, okay, well, we've made this much extra money, now we can invest this much more into Game Pass? Could they be feeding it that way? Because one thing I do think there has been months where it felt like, in fact, I think there was even, I can't remember who it was, but one of the tech writers journos put out. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Chris String. I don't want to misattribute it to him, but maybe someone in chat remembers. Someone put out there that Microsoft was de-emphasizing Game Pass, and that was like in an opinion piece or an editorial they wrote. And this past couple of months suggests to me that they're doing anything but de-emphasizing Game Pass. I also saw Game Pass. Yeah, I also saw Game Pass. I saw Game Pass advertising on Doritos when I was in Sainsbury's the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did.
They just love their Doritos and bloody Mountain Dew, man. It's just like that, even in the UK. It's like, come on, bro.
Doritos and Mountain Dews in the UK.
They are, but how many people are? Oh yeah, mate. I'm gonna get a Mountain Dew.
That's how you know Gaz eats healthily, because he doesn't see someone like me who's not so healthy. I beeline straight to the Doritos and Mountain Dew wherever I'm in any shop.
Mountain Dew? Who has Mountain Dew? You're such a fake English person. Mountain Dew. The only person I know drinks is Colt Eastwood.
Sometimes Lucasade not available, man. I don't know.
Actually, Mountain Dew is way better than
drink
Lucasade.
Iron Brew. I like
Iron Brew's buff.
Yeah, I like me an Iron Brew.
Iron Brew's buff. I've cut it out, bro. This week I've been murked. I don't know what kind of disease I got, but yeah.
You've been sick, right?
I've been so sick. I've been trying to play Doom. I couldn't even get up to play, and I had edit videos. I was so ill, man. I don't know what I got. Whatever virus I got, it was murkages. But I ate so much crap. And I went to a market with my missus over there in London, and just ate so much crap. I think it has to be something I caught from someone or I ate. But I was just literally, I'm not kidding you. I actually dreamt of playing Doom the Dark Ages. I was like, I had a dream. I finished one of the, I wouldn't spoil it, one of the bosses. Yeah, feverish. Yeah, super feverish. I'm still wearing a hoodie now because I've got a little bit of that residual fever. But
we appreciate you here in the Xbox 2 universe for joining us while being so sick.
Oh, mate, I'm honoured to be here because I was just sitting in the chat trolling Hazardor, so it was fun just to join the convo. No, it was honestly, I just like to be an annoying little shit, but it was just nice to be.
Shabs in chat says he bets it was Camden Market.
It wasn't this time. It was the week before. It was close enough. No, it was East Dulwich actually, but yeah, no, good chat.
Fair enough.
Good shout.
But
but I was going to say, you're going to talk about Dark Ages, right? Controversy, you said.
Yeah, so doing the Dark Ages, Game Pass has been on an absolute tear, but because of that, it seems like Doom the Dark Ages debuted on Steam to a lower concurrent users than the previous games. So I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how much Doom the Dark Ages was hitting on Steam, but it was somewhere like 35,000, 40,000, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Doom Eternal was more like 100,000, if I remember correctly. And so there was some articles going up like, why is Doom's concurrent users down, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of think pieces about it, like everything ranging from price is too expensive to buy outright on Steam, and then also the fact that it's got forced ray tracing or something, which eliminates a lot of older graphics cards from the equation. And a lot of if you look at the Steam hardware survey, there are a lot of cards which are more than 6, 7, 8 years old within the pool of people connected to Steam, for example. And then we were actually talking about this on Xbox 2 Ultimate on Tuesday. I was saying, like, on the stream that I'm hearing that the game's actually done really well, and they're going to put some figures out later today. And they actually put the figures out during the show, where they were like, oh yeah, it's already, I think it's 3 million players, if I remember correctly. It hit 3 million players 10 times faster than Doom Eternal did. And then,
which is crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy. But then you sort of get all the sort of think pieces about, Game Pass has cannibalized all its sales away, and that means the game's going to make less money than it would have done had it not been on Game Pass and stuff like that. So again, we get the discourse about, is Game Pass hurting game sales? Nerds and Other Legends says 7 times faster. Yeah, sorry, not 10 times faster, 7 times faster, which is still, impressive speed, which I suppose is partially because of Game Pass. But it was also available in more places. It's been available on Battle.net as well. And I think people often underestimate Battle.net as a destination for PC gaming. There's tens of millions of monthly active users on Battle.net. And when you open Battle.net right now, there's a huge screen which says Doom the Dark Ages. So I do wonder how many people potentially bought it off Battle.net instead of buying it on Steam. But not only that, Gaz, you can buy Doom for free on Battle.net. And not a lot of people know this. You can exchange World of Warcraft gold into Battle.net credit.
What?
Yeah, so Doom the Dark Ages on Battle.net costs about 2 million gold. So the
2 million gold?
2 million gold. So
that's a lot of gold. So in my days of playing WoW, I paid 100 quid for 100,000 or 10,000 gold to get that Nether Drake.
Yeah, the really pro economic players, the traders and stuff like that, who play who game the market, they've got like tens of millions of gold and nothing to spend. So they turn their gold into Battle.net credit, and then they use it to buy other games, to buy skins, battle passes, stuff like that, and they never have to actually pay for them. Because what you do is you take the gold. That's
crazy that in-game currency has a utility outside the game.
Yeah, it's
that's
crazy.
Like Bitcoin, bro. That's mad.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy because sometimes when these games come out, it triggers inflation in WoW. Because suddenly everyone spends their gold, or like the big spenders, they start spending their gold outside of WoW, which triggers inflation or deflation or something.
Deflation,
because the money supply goes down. So
that's crazy. That's why WoW is so sick, Jez. I'm making a video of why the gaming industry is so shit in the AAA space. They have no vision, and World of Warcraft is the primary example that a game that's 20, 30 years old has its own economy, is so sick. And I disrupted that economy one time selling wool cloth for cheap, but it's so good. And now you can buy games with WoW gold. That's insane.
Microsoft didn't even know about this, by the way. Like on the Microsoft side, they didn't even know that. I spoke to people at Microsoft. I was like, man, whenever you guys release something on Battle.net, it causes economic problems in my game. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, because people are spending the gold on the games rather than on my fucking flasks that I'm crafting. You know, I'm a struggling alchemist in WoW, and it's not good when it gets released on Battle.net. But anyway, that's a whole separate topic. But
that's crazy, man. I did not know that. I don't think many people do know that.
No, not a lot of people know that. But I don't think a lot of people are buying Doom using WoW gold, because not a lot of people have 2 million gold to spend. But
but that's pretty cool that you can use gold outside. It has real life utility. I don't know why no one's making much more noise about that. That's pretty cool, man.
Blizzard did this because of all the gold farmers and selling the gold illegally, right? Or like against the terms of service. So they're like, well, we're just going to let people get their own money for selling the gold to sort of to kneecap that market, right? And also you can spend gold on WoW playtime. So if you're really good at making gold, you don't even have to pay the subscription. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a completely separate topic. But anyways, there was all this debate about whether, Doom had done well, whatever, and then they come out with the numbers, and then you've still got people saying like, oh well, just because it's on Game Pass doesn't mean it did well. Like, I've literally seen comments on that tweet from Hugo, the game director, where people are saying, oh, like, players don't count, the only thing that counts is sales and stuff like that, right? Have you played Doom? What do you think of it? Or what do you think of the discourse?
You didn't see my video.
Oh yeah, you were complaining about Rand using the controller earlier.
Yeah. Bro, come on, man. You don't play Doom on a controller, man. Especially Eternal. Although this one, I think you can get away with it. The way that actually the controls work. The game's dynamics are much more different. There's no focus on verticality in this one, like the Doom Eternal. And you do a lot of homing in with that shield attack. So I just being annoying little shit for no reason. But Doom the Dark Ages. By the way, I love the game. I don't think it's a formula they should carry forward for the next game. I think it was because they went back to the ancient times. It was a good experiment for them, and they've done really well with it. I don't think they need to take that formula forward though. And it is so good they will change it, just like they did with Eternal then 2016. In terms of this discourse regarding the sales thing, I think I won't profess to know the answer about what's going on there. I think it's a combination of a few things. You can't really discount all the arguments here. But one, Doom Eternal was selling massively because it released during COVID, and you cannot just disregard the COVID bubble when it comes to Doom Eternal's release. So the numbers always got a massive bias just there in that watershed moment for gaming, and a horrible moment generally for socially for everyone.
Definitely.
Yeah, although I loved that period for just chilling and just brought together some really positive changes with work. But so there was that. That's one factor. Now the Steam numbers, I think this was a lesson in that people automatically assume that the Steam numbers were low, that the game is not doing that well. Some people will say ban the Steam numbers. I think it was well, who was it? I don't know. But I was like, bro, have you lost your mind, bro? Steam numbers are a really useful metric to gauge that. But I think what this showed was when they announced this, the figure that surprised me. I'm like, oh wow, what? Fastest selling in-game, like it sold 7 times faster than Doom Eternal, which was released during COVID. I mean, we're talking about the number of players onboarded
7 times faster.
Yeah, so not sales, but players. And that's a really important metric. Yeah, so the people are like, oh, it's not sales. I'm like, all right, well, last week you were happy with the monthly MAUs because Sony started to adopt them, and now you're like back to where? So you can't disregard that. I will say sales are a more important metric. I've always said that. But the fact that you've onboarded 7 times faster says a lot. It's a number that they can be proud of, and it's a number that they've gone out to release for a reason. You can't disregard that. Now, whether or not how that translates to sales remains to be seen. This is where I think, oh, okay. Has this resonated as much as Doom Eternal? If so, less. Is it a reflection of maybe some of the sentiments from players? I know for a fact the PC numbers, because a lot of the average PC users may not have cards that are able to do ray tracing default, and that's which I welcome, by the way. I'm sorry, but just because you just got 59, you're saying that. No, it's because I've always been an advocate for moving the genre forward and increase the bare minimum, so that when we have moments like Crisis, can it run Crisis? I loved those moments, even though I was resigned to a window shopper for several years watching people run Crisis, and I couldn't. I respected it. I respected the hell out of it. I'm like, holy, these guys are actually pushing this stuff. Look at how amazing it looks. I can't wait to be able to build a PC that can run this. And I think that kind of having a base minimum for ray tracing is actually really good. And just having a better baseline. We need to move tech forward. But there's that element of it. So I'm not saying that, this is an absolute success. I think in terms of how we approach how success is gleaned from this, obviously there'll be a second rung or third rung of a promotion and price drop that will definitely impact Doom's perception, or sales, and how happy id are with it, or Microsoft are with it. But I think generally it's positive. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, you guys are wrong. I'm like, there's nuance there. Perhaps the PC sales aren't as strong as they should be, and we need to see that. And when the sales figures come out for whatever the next month, we should hope to see Doom high there. If Doom's not there at all, then it's a bit concerning. And if it's not in a higher position, you need to ask some questions regarding that. So it's generally it's good. Doom: The Dark Ages has been met positively. People who have played it have really enjoyed it. Some people may prefer Eternal, and there are some who like a little bit, like, I don't know, in chat might think not that much. I loved it, man. I loved it from the moment I started streaming it, and I've been trying to. I played a little bit today during work just to get my hard, and it did. So it's this is a fluid conversation. I'm not going to put my position strongly one way, because I think there's a myriad of different answers there depending on who you ask and how they perceive things. But Microsoft, I think, generally are not going to be hurting with the performance of it. They'll be happy with Doom's performance.
I think like one of the big things about the sales versus subscriptions argument, I think people really understand. It's really easy to understand like the sales argument, because it's like the game sold this much, it made this much money, $70, whatever. Like, it's obvious to understand. But it gets a bit more complicated with the subscription service, because the whole idea of the business model is to prevent churn. You don't want people to unsubscribe, right? And also, it targets people who aren't necessarily going to buy multiple games a year. So like if you capture, say for example, you capture someone at, I can't remember how much Ultimate is now. Is it it's $20 a month, right? For Ultimate. So
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
let's just say it's $20 because I can't remember the exact figure. So it's $240 a year for Ultimate if you pay month over month. If I'm remembering correctly, $19.99. I think that's how much it costs. Chat will correct me if I'm wrong. Let's just assume it's $20 because I can't be bothered to check. That's $240 a year. So you're potentially capturing like a huge casual audience who maybe previously would not have spent £240 on games in a single calendar year, right? Potentially, while your whales will still probably buy the games anyway. I hear that all the time. People say they buy the deluxe editions, they buy the collector's editions, they buy the early access, all that kind of stuff. So you're still capturing that audience at the same time, potentially, while also potentially lowering the barrier to entry for people who don't feel like spending $70 month over month over month on games, right? I subscribe to Game Pass, but I'm also still someone who buys a lot of games outright. I buy a lot of DLC. I just bought a bunch of DLC for Rogue Trader, for example. So I'm just like that sort of heavy spending kind of person. But Microsoft's also been out there saying like people who are in Game Pass spend more because maybe they feel like they're saving money. You know,
I think that's true as well.
So I think, but the discourse of doesn't see it that way. They're very sales centric, whether it's consoles or whether game sales. Because it's easier to understand. And like when you talk about the business model of a subscription service, you have to start talking about cohorts and user behavior habits and churn and all this kind of stuff, which becomes more confusing. So the discourse around a subscription service, and also like negative subscription services like Spotify, which has negatively impacted at least some musicians on the high end potentially. But then you've also got musicians on the indie side who are like,
I love
very grateful for Spotify's algorithm. Like, there's so many
bands. I'm massively grateful. Spotify is the reason why I actually vouch for Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's democratized music so much that the big I had some music clients, man. You have no idea how corrupt the music industry actually generally is, anyway. But I loved seeing, and so some of our clients are indie, some are big artists, and I love the way democratized the music space. And that's the vision I see for Game Pass. Whether or not it sustains that and then has a bias leaning towards AA, AAA, remains to be seen. But yeah, no. Sorry, I just wanted to on that point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are obviously downsides to Game Pass, like you said. Like, it can, the way it's curated right now, potentially gives a lot of games a chance to shine. But when we have these like really great months where it's like Doom, Oblivion, Expedition 33, Blueprints, all in a sort of short space of time, it sort of potentially does it squeeze out the indie games and stuff like that. Then maybe that's where your tiers come in. Maybe more of the indie games go straight into Game Pass Standard, because now a lot of the bigger games only launch into Ultimate now, and then come to Standard later on. I don't know. I think there's ways they can do Game Pass better over time, but I think the thing that we should, like, it's fun to talk, it's fun to discuss and fun to talk about. But I think like as a consumer, it's just like it's a revelation. You know, it's the best thing since sliced bread that has been slightly toasted with beans put on it, and a bit of Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce, but bro, I've seen so many people going back to doing the glazing for Game Pass, and I can't even stop them. They have a point. When PlayStation Plus is not doing anything, and like, you saw the poll where it's like 4% of people liked it or whatever. Then you've got Game Pass that is doing so well that people can't even bring the sustainability argument, because PlayStation is sustaining it. If you thought it was I would like to hear from people who thought it was unsustainable previously, if they have relinquished that argument. I think you're still in good terms with Colin Moriarty, and he's been a vocal critic of Game Pass. Perhaps one day you may want to ask him, if you're on a show or chatting to him, ask him, does he think Game Pass is still unsustainable in light of Microsoft's multi-platform strategy? I'd like to see his answer to that.
Yeah,
but I think generally
PlayStation must be subsidizing that in part. maybe.
But PlayStation is subsidizing in part. PlayStation absolutely is. Microsoft has an amazing opportunity. You know how you're going to see this? You'll see the proof in the pudding. And I don't know which way it will go, because sometimes I don't know if Microsoft is even interested in Game Pass. It's supplementing it, whatnot. But the next Xbox, whatever device comes out, they're going to use Game Pass to be their primary weapon. I think Paris in the chat was saying that, the principal leading arms or the weapons for Microsoft or Xbox is Play Anywhere and Game Pass, which is not exactly the best thing for me. Well, value, I guess, in a certain way is a good weapon to lead with to a certain degree. All the game quality and unique identifiers are one thing, another thing. But when the next Xbox comes out, they're going to show off this Game Pass, and then they're going to have all these great games that are coming out for it. Now, There's no way. How can you argue that PlayStation sales and Xbox dominating the sales figures, getting all this record revenue, will not have a positive impact on Game Pass, Microsoft's ability to supplement Game Pass, Microsoft's ability to invest in more third parties like Ninja Gaiden to do Game Pass, and then third parties start looking at Game Pass? Like, oh, right, they're in the conversation. I think it's a big deal that, Ninja Gaiden is out there. It's a big deal that Microsoft had now a good eye for detail, finally, that they picked something like Clay Obscure's Expedition 33. It's a big, big deal that Microsoft finally had the foresight to put that in their market, put that in their developer direct even, and then really put it on in front of everyone's eyes. And even the developers have said that was a big, big reason why they've got so much exposure from Microsoft. But previously, Microsoft was so tone deaf that they would turn down big projects without realizing that this thing's going to be massive success. Like Baldur's Gate, they had a budget that they completely disregarded, and now Microsoft has an eye for detail, and it's obvious. So, just going back to the Game Pass thing, absolutely. This is what I was talking about, Jez, when I was saying, do you think Sony's just sitting there? Do you think Sony can afford to sit there and say, oh, we're making 30% off these guys, it's fine anyway, whilst watching Game Pass, the disruptor, keep getting supplemented more and more as a result of their efforts on the platform? That disruptor that they cannot dream of matching, because they don't have the financial might of Microsoft that has backed it for years and now is comfortably marketing and supplementing this off the back of PlayStation. I know people all think this is a console warring point. I'm genuinely asking you, and even the hardcore PlayStation guys, do you really think Sony is not concerned or has no strategy to counter that? I think you'd be supremely naive. If I was Sony and I was at Sony's execs, I'd be like, bruh, Game Pass has now got even longer legs. Forget sustainability. We're sustaining it. What are we going to do? They're still getting more traction. They've got Call of Duty on the service. They've got bloody all these big third-party games on it. The Game of the Year contender is going to be on it. They're just constantly murking it. They're dominating our store, and we're going to sit here and just say, oh yeah, by the way, State of Play's up next month, and we're going to show you freaking some third parties. Out of here, man. That's what I'm saying. That's the one element I see that Sony cannot rest on their laurels. So I think there's a lot of bias towards Sony's first place position without looking at the longevity of it. And one of my titles for my stream tomorrow is Xbox's strategy working? And it might be really, and I vastly underestimated it.
I think I did too. I think I underestimated it too. I mean, I would never have expected to see a green number for hardware after all what they're doing. Like, I literally wrote an article the day before the hardware went up slightly. That sort of basically read like, will anyone want a console that doesn't have exclusives? Because that's what Microsoft's selling now. But maybe Game Pass is the exclusive. But I think like there are other factors like people buying the stock before they go up in price. Nintendo Switch, people aren't buying that anymore. So maybe there's not enough Switch 1 stock going around. So people are buying Series S as a holdover. But I do think there are events coming up like GTA 6 is probably going to be a system seller for the Xbox Series S. But for PC gamers who maybe want a console just for that and then sell it afterwards.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, there are events coming up that could also drive Xbox hardware. But you know, I've got a super chat here from Rave Damos, $5. Thank you so much. Jez, Phil has talked about the agreements with third-party companies in Game Pass. But what do we know about first-party in Game Pass and money-wise? That's a really good question. I honestly don't know. Is the truthful answer? I don't know how Microsoft allocates funds based on what their studios are doing, or like rewards those studios based on Game Pass engagement. My guess is that it's probably similar to how it works with third parties, where it's like, whatever milestones you hit in terms of engagement will release more money, which is kind of how it works with Game Pass. There's like an upfront fee, and then the publisher get an upfront fee, and then they get a cut of money every time the game hits certain milestones in engagement, month over month over month, something like that, right? Which is better than the Spotify model, which is where Spotify they pay out a percentage to all the musicians in the service on a sort of sliding scale based on how popular they are. So it's something like 90% of the people on Spotify don't barely see a penny, kind of thing. But Spotify is trying to monetize. Yeah, I don't know. But Spotify is trying to monetize in other ways now by selling CDs and vinyls and stuff. I bought a vinyl through Spotify the other day, first time ever. That was pretty.
Oh cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, for Faytooth, a sludge metal band, which I highly doubt you know.
Chat. I run a Spotify playlist called Nightwave Radio. I listen to nice wavy music, people writing and stuff. And I used to be a new metal head. And then I constantly accosted by bloody Jez says, put some rock in there. So one day I just put mixed it with some new metal, some good stuff. Sepultura, some people may not have heard of, the old school stuff. And then Jez, just put this on. And I literally thought it was the sound of Randall Thor 19 violently shitting diarrhea down the toilet with the guitar riff in the background. It's like, yeah.
Was it Meshuggah or something?
It's like, what the hell is this? There's some hardcore shit, man. The most hardcore shit I used to listen to when it came to not Slipknot. There was some other stuff that went crazy. Mudvayne maybe was the most silliest thing I listened to back then. But you, man, and I've noticed this, the indie rock scene, they've gone crazy on the screaming, crazy, darker even. I'm not a man of that refined taste, I'm afraid.
Sepultura is awesome. Anyone from Brazil?
That was lovely.
I love Sepultura.
Yeah.
But yeah. I completely lost my train of thought now. But yeah, we're talking about subscription business models. But yeah, I honestly don't know Rave Demos. I could try and find out, but
I'll tell you how I think it works. I'll tell you how I think it works. I think, basically, they obviously, first of all, first-party studios, they'll get a budget. They'll get, this is your budget for your next project. You've sold it. You've pitched this project. This is it. So everyone's salary is getting paid. They're wicked. They're calm. Big Microsoft is getting them sorted. Fair enough. But they'll also have bonus structure. So if you hit certain milestones, and I think they may be up to negotiating there internally, but they might say, okay, if you hit X number of sales or X number of players or MAUs or whatever, then everyone gets a bonus of X dollars, pounds, or whatever. So something like that, I reckon that would feasibly work, because internally, what else could there be? That's it. They get an internal budget and then they get a bonus structure.
True that. Right, guys, before we go to the Patreon Q&A section, we'll have a short show today because, well, actually, it's not even a short show. It's still been 3 hours. We just had like half an hour of technical problems.
People have been talking about Showcase. They really want to know about the Xbox Showcase. Did we even touch that?
We didn't. We didn't touch the Showcase yet. So, let's talk about.
People really want to know about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Showcase a little bit here. So, Xbox Showcase is on June the 6th, I want to say. Let me just double check that. June, or is it June the 8th?
Oh, right. It's in 2 weeks. I didn't even realize time's going so quick. Holy shit.
June the 8th? I think it might be June.
Yeah, June the 8th, yeah, Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, June the it's somewhere around there. June the 6th, June the 8th. It's that weekend. It's Summer Game Fest, right?
Yeah, Sunday. June the 8th.
So, Xbox Showcase is coming up. Guys, what are your expectations? What are you hoping to see from the Xbox Showcase this year? What do they need to do? Because every year it's like, this showcase for Xbox is make or break. If they don't land this showcase, Xbox is doomed. But that's been like that for the last 10 years.
Brett, that's actually a good point that you raised there. I didn't actually think about that. And it just made me realize, actually, this showcase is not make or break for Xbox. Because Xbox has had such a strong performance, even by Clear Obscures Expedition 33 was a third party being added in there, has added a lot of goodwill to Game Pass. And generally, Xbox's first parties have done really well. In the public perception is really high. They dominated sales. And more crucially, last year, they delivered an incredible showcase, which I got to watch for my friend's wedding because he's a idiot, couldn't even time it properly. But yeah, that did. See, this is the thing. If you do a good showcase, it really lowers the pressure on you. Whereas Sony has the opposite problem. Every time they have a showcase on State of Play, everyone's like, all right, now we want more. The pressure to deliver even a better showcase is exponentially higher. So and they haven't discharged that burden at all. I'm sorry, one Ghost of Yotai and one Death Stranding 2 did not change anything. Or thingy, what's it called, Housemarque's game, which looks really good. So Xbox haven't got that much pressure, but Xbox on the table, even the stuff that but people ask like, oh, what are you expecting from Xbox Showcase? I'm not even expecting new IPs from them or unannounced games, because they have so much on the table that I want to see. And we're running presumably to the latter half of this generation, which is like 2 years, if Xbox is rumored to go early in 2026 or 27 or whatever the hell it is. So we have so many games that have not been, we need to see them. Perfect Dark was revealed ages ago. State of Decay was revealed ages ago. Are we going to see this? Bloody see these games, bastard. Especially Perfect Dark, man. Perfect Dark is my #1 game I want to see more than anything. Perfect Dark is going to be the game I want to see more gameplay of, and hopefully a release more than even gameplay. I want to see a release date, because I don't want it spoiled for me. You've seen so much of it, but it wouldn't hurt to see a little bit more. But I want to see a release date for that. I want to see State of Decay, because if State of Decay 3 is supposed to be the game that State of Decay was supposed to be, and I didn't even barely bother with 2 because such phoned in State of Decay 1 version, then State of Decay 3 is going to be amazing if you follow the history behind what the developers have been aiming to do. That has a potential, I'm just saying potential, to be huge, massive disruptor. Another, like I guess it's a live service game. If they do the multiplayer thing right, like The Walking Dead, oh my God, the potential there is huge, and people are sleeping on the potential for State of Decay. So those two are, for me, the big ones. I really want to see that. Now, there were some rumors that Gears E-Day would actually even potentially get released at the end of this year. I don't think that's going to happen. But Gears of E-Day, if there's Tom Warren is suggesting a release in 2026, and I guess there's no reason to suggest why it wouldn't come out next year, then that's shown as well. That's the gameplay for it. I think it was you. You were one of the first people to. Have you seen it or heard about it or heard that the game looks mental? I can't wait to see gameplay of this game, because UE5 have not let me down, man. And this game, if anyone can use UE5, yeah, Gears E-Day, it's gonna look sick, isn't it?
I haven't seen gameplay of E-Day myself, but like people have been hyping up to me, sure. But the kind of people that I would expect to hype up the game, to be honest.
Oh, I see. All right, fine.
So,
I thought this.
Yeah,
okay.
So, but like, well, this is one of the things about Gears was like, for the longest time, they just like used the same animations, game over game over game. They use the same assets, game over game over game, and touch them up, right? That's why they're able to get them out so quickly. Like, I remember at the start of the during the Xbox One gen, everyone said the Coalition really carried the generation, right? But a lot of it was, asset recycling, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, loads of games do it, like Dark Souls, Elden Ring. So many animations in Elden Ring were lifted straight out of Dark Souls. Monster Hunter is obviously notorious for it. Every single Monster Hunter game basically has the same animation rig for certain monsters that have been there since the PS2 days. But if it's done well, right? But I think like one thing I've heard with Gears E-Day is that like literally everything is built brand new, fresh from the ground up. So it's like it should feel very, very fresh compared to like
I hope so,
Gears
man.
5 and Gears 4 felt potentially. Because even I'm a big Gears fan, but even I start like by Gears 5, I was like kind of yearning for something a little bit more I don't know, fresher, I suppose. So I'm
Yeah,
expecting the
absolutely.
game. Yeah, I'm expecting the game to feel more fresh, but familiar still. But I don't know that I don't know a ton about it, frankly, or if I did, I've forgotten. Um, like from this year's showcase, I'm kind of I do feel like there's not as much pressure on Microsoft as there has been previously, as they've sort of like they've expanded their operations to other platforms. No, it's not really like it's not really going to be a show where it's like, oh, we've got to attract people to Xbox. You know, it's sort of like that's not really the business model anymore. It's sort of like the pressure's off a little bit. So like maybe for the quality of the show, maybe that's like a bad thing. Maybe Microsoft holds some things back. Maybe it doesn't have like the absolutely the mind-blowing megaton that people used to say back in the day. Maybe it doesn't have something like that, but maybe we just have like really great updates on existing games. And this is all speculation, by the way. I'm not going to spoil the showcase at all, because I want to be surprised as well, and I do know some things, but
Oh,
there
you know, you told to me.
yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but like apart from the things that I do know, some games that I'm personally expecting to see, or hoping to see rather. I hope we see Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's been long
That would be
enough
a
now.
megaton.
Yeah.
No megatons in the Elder Scrolls 6. That's mad.
Yeah, maybe. I hope we see Elder Scrolls 6 and I hope it's good, but maybe it's too early. Um there's like loads of like a lot of people in chat were talking about Double Fine. Where's Double Fine? You know, Double Fine's been
Oh, yeah.
very, very quiet in the weeds. What does their next game look like? So maybe we see that. There's also plenty of other games that um we haven't seen in forever. Like, you know, you mentioned Perfect Dark and State of Decay, but there's also stuff like Contraband, Everwild. What's going on with those? I heard Everwild development is going well now. Last time I checked in about it, so maybe it's time we see, you know, a proper sort of gameplay reveal for Everwild, or at least conceptually what the game's supposed to be.
Oh, that'd be good.
But I do expect a lot of announcements around the show as well. Maybe the show itself is mostly about games, but I do expect to see Microsoft getting more support for Xbox Play Anywhere. I'm also having to see Clockwork Revolution. Michael Squires in chat reminded me about that one. It's Clockwork Revolution. That's going to be a sleep hit, man. Like, I think that's going to be a
Really?
lot. Yeah, I think that's going to be much more special game than people are giving in XL
Really?
credit for. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep your eye
I
on
was kind of
Clockwork
sleeping on it.
Revolution, man. Don't sleep on Clockwork Revolution, man. I've heard fantastic
Oh,
things.
wow.
Um,
Wow, that'd be a big get for if that smashes out the park. That puts the studio properly on the radar.
yeah, because there's the Bioshock audience is. There's rumors that there might be a new Bioshock announced this month, this summer. I think there's some
Raw.
rumors out there, but I do feel like the people are desperate for a high quality experience that sort of evokes those Bioshocky kind of feelings, and I really do think Clockwork Revolution might be it. So yeah, I'm expecting like some meta announcements like Xbox Play Anywhere stuff. I'm also expecting that we'll get some, you know, maybe we see Project Kenan finally. Um, I also think, well, I also know there's going to be some unannounced games there, which is, you know, not
Oh,
really
yeah?
hard to guess at. You know, anyone could say it's a showcase. Of course, there's going to be unannounced games there. So yeah,
But from who?
yeah, exactly. From who? I don't know, but there's going to be some unannounced games, I think.
Wow, okay.
So yeah, I'm expecting it to be a really great show, but maybe not like one where it's like, oh, they announce, I don't know, something that would be like a nostalgic megaton, like a Banjo or something. I'm not expecting Banjo to be there.
Final Fantasy VII, Johan says, yes, I'm expecting Final
but,
Fantasy.
But hey, maybe Banjo is there. I don't know. But yeah, I would bet money
Banjo.
that
Banjo in the
Square Enix
face.
is there with Final Fantasy stuff. I think the current rumor from Nate the Hate was Final Fantasy 16 this year, Final Fantasy 7 next year. I think that's the order he said them in. Off the top of my head. So yeah, I will bet money that Final Fantasy's and Square Enix is going to be there. So you feel free to quote me on that, by the way. Take that as you will. So, but yeah, I don't know. Let us know in chat and in the comments what you'd like to see in the Xbox showcase this year. But yeah, no
Forza 6 is a good one by Essen. The next Forza Horizon might be due a reveal.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I think the Playground devs are all working on Fable right now. I think we'll see.
Are they? I thought they had 2 teams.
They do, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're supporting each other on Fable to get it up because it was delayed and to get it over the finish line, right?
All right, okay.
So I think we'll get some of that. Like Zach Riley says, Killer Instinct 2 will be cool. I know for a fact they want to do Killer Instinct 2. They told me that last year at Summer Game Fest, but they just
Oh,
don't
did
have
they?
Yeah, they did. They just don't have a dev. They don't. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
the hard part,
someone.
though.
Yeah, they don't have someone free to do it. And I'm kind of guessing that, and this is your pure guess. I think Iron Galaxy pitched a sequel, and the pitch was rejected.
Oh, wow.
Because Iron Galaxy was working on patches for the game, but I don't think Microsoft wants to put the sequel in their hands for whatever reason. Zach Riley says Hollow Knight Silk Song will probably be there. Banjo 3, Chief Nagel wants Halo to be there. Windowed Box says Activision Game Pass.
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
Halo.
maybe. Yeah, I mean,
Halo's going to be there, surely.
Where's
Surely.
Halo?
The Halo CE, I reckon the remake, reboot.
Yeah. A ton of
Coming to
stuff.
PlayStation. Motherfucker. I can't do it.
Black Myth Wukong release day. Metro. I really want to see the next Metro game, says Michael Squires. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good show, but I'm not expecting anything shocking. But maybe I'll be wrong. I am the pessimist.
I'm not expecting anything shocking either. The only thing that could shock us is Quake, or shock me if it's Quake. I don't think it's Quake, but I'd love to be a Quake. Please be Quake. It's not going to be Quake. I think the shockers would. I mean, the Final Fantasy thing is a mild shocker, but only because Nintendo kind of took the wind out of Xbox's sales in that announcement. But I will still load it over the PlayStation fanboys, who I know will be seething that comes out to Xbox. So I will load it over their heads, even though I'm on PC. Then I think the other big one is. I don't think that, well, if Halo's not the reboot makes it, I don't think that's going to be the case. If anything's shown by Halo Studios, it's just going to be the remake. What big surprise?
I know Microsoft is working on one big shocking thing, which is why in April I tweeted out a picture of Blade Runner, a picture from Blade Runner of Rutger Hauer saying, "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe," because I saw gameplay of an upcoming game, which absolutely was just like amazing.
What?
But
Brav,
that's not. I don't think that's going to be at the show. I don't think that's going to be at the show. I think that's a next year thing, because it was very early pre-alpha kind of footage. But
just at least.
I can't, man. I can't, man.
Just let me just go a little. Give me a semi at least. Just tell. What was so good about it?
It was a dream. It was a dream come true. That's all.
It was a dream come true because of the visuals?
That's just a dream come true, man.
Is it a dream because of... Because you gotta give me something, man.
No, I won't.
I got these cheeseburgers, man. Please, man.
You'll see it next year. I'm pretty sure it's next year. But it might be this year, but I'm pretty sure it's next year.
Next year? Okay.
But
A2 says... Is it Lost Odyssey 2?
No,
there was a silence there.
Did I
get it right?
Catch me out, bro. A2 says shockers would be the remaster of those Activision Transformers games. I get asked about those Transformers games all the time.
Where are they?
Easy Cure says Half-Life 3 confirmed. Hey, maybe. There's so many rumors about Half-Life 3, man, but there always is, right? There always is.
Yeah, of course.
The Liz 22
most
says,
people that care about Half-Life 3 are old, my gosh. Yeah.
The Liz 22 says new IP or old IP. I will say it's an old IP. It's an old IP. That's the only.
Oh, raw. Oh, you gave it more than you gave me, you little shit. Okay, so it's an old IP. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Lost Odyssey 2.
Snow Dragon says it's been a while since Jez has been drinking on stream. I haven't had alcohol in this room since about a year, man.
Ramadan.
Since Ramadan. I thought you weren't supposed to drink alcohol any time of the year.
I know it's true, but I just thought maybe you started it and you did when we stopped.
No, I don't know. I haven't had alcohol in here for ages. I still drink if I'm going out with friends and stuff, but I don't drink on the show anymore. We've stopped that because Rand doesn't like it.
Why?
But I don't know.
We have so many secrets.
It's a bit annoying, isn't it? It's a bit annoying when like one person's drunk and no one else is, right? I don't know.
I don't think it is. I thought it was funny. I used to tune in. I used to get a message like, "Oh, Jez drunk again," and everyone's like, "Yo, people just rush in to see the stream. Like, what's he gonna say?"
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. It was quite funny, and your drunk rants were actually really hilarious. You're not an annoying drunk. You were actually an amusing one. You just go on talking shit. It's amazing. That's why. Like, you know why I tune into this? It's because I used to say, these guys, I used to tune in and they're like, this guy's talking about tomato ketchup or some shit. What are they talking about? I piss off. Then I started tuning in and got annoyed that you weren't talking about random shit. So then I'm like, oh, I actually like the random stuff they talk about. And so, yeah, when you were drunk, that was peak randomness. I like that.
Oh, man. Rodrigo.
Oh, so you've seen something. That's so crazy. You've seen something that's going to be revealed next year. It's an older IP. Oh, okay, just give me this. It's an Xbox IP.
Like, I'm not saying. I'm not narrowing it down any further. I'm not narrowing it down.
I tried, chat. I tried.
But,
Tried.
I genuinely think people know what it is when they see it. Rodrigo
Well, that doesn't mean anything. People will genuinely know what it is when they see it.
Trust me. Rodrigo Bailem says, $2. Jez, what about Stasis report on the Xbox MSI portable? I have no idea. I'm sure they're doing something with MSI, and they're probably doing something with Razer and Lenovo as well. I mean, these sort of designed for Xbox thing. So Microsoft has, like, if you see on the stream, Microsoft has this new design for Xbox program. Well, it's not new. It's just sort of renewed it. So, like, they're sort of working with manufacturers to design products that are sort of like designed with the Xbox ecosystem in mind, whether it's like, oh, my camera's gone out of focus now. Whether it's designed for, like, the Xbox app or PC gaming or Xbox Play Anywhere, Game Pass, or whatever. That's the kind of stuff that is now is part of the hardware team's purview. So it's like when they're looking at, like, working with Asus on their Xbox ROG Ally, it's basically just a ROG Ally 2 with an Xbox button. And maybe, like, some Xbox software front and center rather than Asus's own software front and center. I don't know. But anyways, I think that was all the super chats. Oh no, there's another one.
Oh no, there's another one. Someone gave you money. You said, "Oh no."
Yeah. Well, they're giving Rand money. I don't see any of this money. But
Rand, you absolute cheap boss.
Yeah, Rand deserves to pay too. Nerds Another Legend with 5. Thank you so much, mate. Do you think Xbox can sustain this output of content? Do you think they're done acquiring smaller studios? I did see another comment where people were like, well, with the FTC stuff, with the FTC stuff being over, will Microsoft start acquiring studios again? I think it's definitely possible. But I also think, like, one thing about Game Pass that I think they're very I think they're very inclined with Game Pass to make sure it's paying for itself. I don't think they want to spend outside the amount of money they're getting with Game Pass. I don't think they want to subsidize Game Pass. I think they want Game Pass to subsidize itself. So my guess is that I think they probably would acquire some smaller studios, but they would have to be, like, very aligned with Xbox's vision and their strategy, also proficient with Unreal Engine, because I think pretty much Microsoft wants all their studios to be Unreal now, so they can all work on each other's games during downtime, down periods and stuff. So I think if the right studio came around at the right time with the right culture and all that stuff, I think they would do it. But I don't think they necessarily have that level of pressure they used to have to buy those studios. Machine
I don't think so, but I think they need to diversify. Didn't they admit that they want to diversify into other areas, like maybe Far East?
Well, one thing I did hear about for Microsoft's portfolio strategy into the future was sort of diversifying the types of cohorts they get in. So potentially more games for younger gamers, because that's an area that Microsoft and Sony, frankly, have heavily neglected. And you gotta recognize the success that Astrobot has had. Microsoft, I think, for the longest time has just sort of rested on its Minecraft laurels. And obviously the movie did extremely well, so that kind of buoyed that a bit. But I think Microsoft's probably, like, cognizant of the at least the idea that there's more that can probably be doing to get younger users not just interested in Xbox as a platform, but also, like, the ecosystem and the expectation that Xbox wants to set as its exclusive offering. So like, what does it look like if you get youngsters used to cloud gaming, or youngsters used to having Xbox Play Anywhere, versus the Sony model? You know, I think you sort of like, you know, it's a very corporate kind of thing, but you kind of have to get them when they're young, don't you, to get them used to it. I think this idea of like catering for the hardcore, the older audience in perpetuity, that's an unsustainable model, because people our age getting older, having kids, less time to game, less money,
Yep.
all that kind of thing. And then maybe you can like make a game that maybe, and also the expectations are higher. Like we want games to have like, you know, we want games to be on Grand Theft Auto 6's level all the time, or at least some people do. Whereas like a youngster, you can give them a cardboard box and they'll be happy for 2 hours. Ask Nintendo. So Machine XP says Xbox launching games on PlayStation is literally causing PlayStation Studios to get shuttered and scrapped. Am I being dramatic? Maybe. I mean, that's in a roundabout kind of way, that is an interesting point, because if more people are playing Forza Horizon 5 or 6 or 7, does that reduce the addressable audience for Gran Turismo? You know, or if Microsoft is really dominating with another type of genre from one of its other studios, does that prevent Sony from entering that market with their own genre competitor? You know, I think at the end of the day, games have to be like, it's all about the quality of the games at the end of the day. So if Sony did make a game that was better than Forza Horizon 6, then so be it. But it's also like Microsoft has this established brand, established studio, established business model with Call of Duty, with World of Warcraft, with Forza Horizon, with Minecraft, and all these kind of games. It's really hard to sort of leapfrog this. Like, MMOs have been trying for 20 years to get ahead of World of Warcraft, and every single one has failed. Final Fantasy had like this, Final Fantasy 14 had this brief window in time where it looked like, oh, World of Warcraft's finally got some real competition now. But then like that, yeah, it lit a fire under Blizzard's ass, and they've really, really pulled the finger out, and they've just delivered 2 banger expansions back after back, and they're just about to steal Final Fantasy 14's exclusive feature, which is player housing. You know, at least, I don't know, I know other MMOs are player housing, but it was Final Fantasy that really did it at that level of quality that is sort of like a modern game. And now World of Warcraft's going to steal the feature and also make it even better, because it's not going to have that stupid lottery system, you know. But hopefully Final Fantasy will come back with an even better version, and, you know, the competition, you know, leads to better games and stuff like that. Was there any other super chats there?
Guild Wars was supposed to beat World of Warcraft. I remember that. My friend was like, Guild Wars really good. It's going to take WoW over. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Some people just don't want to pay a subscription, which I completely appreciate, but you get so much content for what you pay. So much content.
I've tried to explain that. Well, I have successfully made people pay that, which they thought was egregious at the time, and then their lives were destroyed after the fact, because WoW is crack. But yeah, you know,
these days, like, WoW is like, it's very seasonal now. So you play the season and then quit. There's nothing left to do. So like, I am playing WoW right now because done the season, nothing more to do. There's some like little events and stuff like that, but I ain't really interested in that. Just give you a couple of cosmetics and whatever. But yeah, I'm probably not going to play WoW now until the next season comes out, which is going to be like, what, October or something, maybe?
I think that's actually a good thing in many ways, because then we can get on with our lives and play other things, and you don't have to be enamored with that game, because that was really disruptive. I've never met so many addicted players that were horrendously addicted by WoW.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was like such a grind. You had to like, there wasn't that many ways to get loot, so it was just like you had to just do the same dungeon over and over and again and hope for the best. But now there's just so many ways to get loot. You're just swimming in loot, you know. So it's not really, you don't really play for the loot anymore. You play for the FOMO cosmetics, which will go away after the season ends, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I used to play for World PvP, but clearly that wouldn't matter much.
There's something called War Mode now.
What's that?
It's like, it is World PvP, and you just sort of you turn on War Mode, and then you just go around killing the players. You can loot them, and you get items, which again leads to cosmetics and stuff like that. But the problem is, like,
I'm in real world PvP, man, where you kill the quest givers and go into bloody with the Ashen Vale and just go and murk the Alliance. Like,
Yeah.
spend hours just ganking
It was
couple
so
of.
good back in the day. But you know, there's WoW Classic. You can do that in WoW Classic if you fancy it. But the problem is now
Yeah,
everyone piles into a server where their faction dominates now because there's so much data. So it's like you end up in a server where it's like there's like 15 alliance to one horde. So like
that's really.
yeah, it's never going to be like what it was. But
Oh man,
anyways,
that was a epic. Sorry,
it was okay.
People don't understand that. If you've never played WoW and you listen to us, you're like, oh, they're talking about WoW again. I just need you to understand that if you never experienced that game, even if it was ages, years ago, there's nothing that comes close to it today.
No.
No matter how jank you think it looked, it was an incredible, most immersive experience of life. Baron's chat, all of that, it was incredible. There's nothing even today that comes close to it. Nothing.
Like even WoW Classic doesn't come close because it was like it was the first real. It was before social media. It was before YouTube.
Exactly.
And it was like I'm gonna live inside this game now. Like people stream now, or they go on Meta or Twitter or whatever to socialize online. For
it would be
12 million people
exactly.
that played WoW at its height, it was WoW where people did that shit. So
it's mental.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mental game.
But yeah, thanks to everyone who's come for this technologically inferior podcast. You know, Rand texted me earlier and said Comcast have sent him a text saying that there is works going on right now in his area, which means that no internet for Rand for the foreseeable.
That's terrible.
So yeah, I can't even imagine. How does one live without internet? I have no idea. But RGB says Jez is the WoW Southport guy. I literally was in my early 20s. I literally was. I had the wrist thing and everything. I raided 7 days a week back then, and I was like 450 pounds. I was way bigger than I am now. I was that guy, man. It was bad. It was really bad. No job. I had no job. I was unemployed, 450 pounds, and just playing WoW every day. It was bad. But anyways, we're gonna do some Patreon Q&As now. If you've been enjoying the show, please smash the like button, all that good stuff. And obviously, these Patreon Q&A thread is up now. If you want to drop a question in, if you're on Patreon, Patreon is free at the lowest tier, and that's where you can get all the news about Xbox 2 podcasts and stuff like that. And there's tiers with all kind of perks, extra shows, Q&As, all that kind of stuff. So, and also supports us, me and Rand, and supports the show, and we really appreciate that. So the first Patreon Q&A question is from good old Collingwood, who says, "Happy World Goth Day for yesterday, Jez and Gaz. I was going to
be goth.
Yeah, same. Well, still kind of am on a low key kind of level. You should come back to being goth, Gaz. We could be great goth. You can still listen to techno if you're goth. You just be a cyber goth, like it's very big in Germany, right? There's sort of.
Oh, have you seen that video of that goth the group under a bridge listening to?
Yeah. That's
oh my god,
cyber goth, man. That's like the techno.
Oh my god, no chance, bro.
I was going to ask Jez about the on-stream Game Pass offering, but I remembered you don't know old games such as Outrun. Instead, what games did you play while in hospital, and was the hospital Wi-Fi any good? Also, bouquets to Gaz, sticking to his political views even when it comes to gaming. Yeah, fair play, Gaz.
Yeah.
So I didn't play anything while I was in hospital. I was out of it, man. I was in so much pain and stuff like that because it was a laparoscopic. I've probably pronounced that wrong. Laparoscopic surgery. So I was in a lot of pain. I was thinking about taking my Legion Go, but I just thought I'll just chill and lie down. So I think I just scrolled on Reddit most of the day. But I would have played, if I had been there, I would have played Hollow Knight, which I did just finish. I found the ending of Hollow Knight a bit anticlimactic, but I think I did get the bad ending. There's like other endings you can get if you do like a bunch of stuff. So I might have to load my save up and go and find out some extra endings, because the one I got was pretty anticlimactic. Joaquin, Waka Vodka, I think that's Joaquin, says, "Gents, now that the FTC is over, what does Xbox look to grow with?" What? Wait, what? With the FTC's over, does Xbox look to grow again? IMO, they need another mainline COD studio to avoid games that are half measures like Modern Warfare 3 and apparently this year's COD. So yeah, there are rumors that this year's Call of Duty is going to be mid-tier, sort of like, and it's becoming a thing where like 1 year Call of Duty is good and then the next year it's bad.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about it's going to be mid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Take that for what you will.
Doesn't
I haven't
surprise
heard
me, though.
anything about it, but apparently it's just Modern Warfare 2 again or something like no, Black Ops again or
What?
something like that. Sorry.
Oh,
I
the
don't
war
know.
is back, I heard. But
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, do they need another COD studio? I think at the end of the day that the
no.
investment in COD, I think the business model of Call of Duty is very, very fixed, which is why, like I was saying, they would never make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox because the business model is quite tight. As in, like, they make a ton of money, but it also costs a ton of money to make, and you don't want to disrupt that model. So, like, if you add another studio into the mix, that's going to increase your costs even more. But would the games necessarily sell better, or has it Call of Duty reached its biggest potential addressable market? I don't know. So I think that ultimately hinges on pure economics. Like, is there anywhere for Call of Duty to grow from here? And if there is, then maybe yeah, you invest and get another studio, or grow your existing offering, your existing cohort of studios. But if it has already sort of hit that sort of maximum possible growth, then I think you probably don't. But I don't know. I've dropped off Call of Duty. I tried playing last year's just because it was in Game Pass, but I'm sick of the lack of immersion those games kind of deliver. I'm really hoping that
So,
Battlefield gives me some of that. But like, I just
did you see the thing about Battlefield?
Battlefield 6.
Battlefield 6. People are pissed now, and me included.
Oh, because you
It
can use
sounds like they're
weapons on each
taking
class.
that kind of shit. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah. I've seen some of the clips that are out there, and it just looks like Battlefield 3 and 4. And a lot of people are like, oh, those are good Battlefields. Why are you complaining? I'm like, yeah, but every time I used to expect a sequel, I used to expect some changes. If you remember how Battlefield 2 to 3 was. And this one, it's just like, bruv. I don't know, man. I really want Battlefield 6 to be good and absolutely crap on Call of Duty, like I always done, because Battlefield has always been the more ambitious game. So Vincent Pella is amazing, like talented, and this I just want it to be good, man. I hope it is.
Yeah, I'm hopeful too. But after like the last couple of Battlefields, my and just EA expectation 0 every time EA is on the cover.
You should do. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But we'll see. All right, next question is from Pat Rock, which kind of reminds me of Pet Rock. You ever had a pet rock? I had a pet rock when I was a kid. Sad times. You never had a pet rock? It's just me.
I had a pet rock, bro. What the hell are you talking
You never
about?
had a pet rock? Like your parents won't let you get real pets, so you get a pet rock. I don't know. Jez. I don't know. Am I the only one that had this? Is this
Yes.
weird? Chat, let me know. I thought this was a thing. I better move on quickly. Jez, Rand, do you see a future where Microsoft makes porting to Xbox so easy that they have the tools set up where if you make a game on Steam, you can put it on Xbox PC as well? Do you think it would make for more incidental ports where a game may usually be on Steam, only which is common these days for AA and indies, where now they're on Xbox as well? And maybe Xbox even gives them a bigger cut because of how easy it is to port, knowing that they'll be no longer concerned with exclusive, just ease of use. So one thing that I have heard Microsoft is exploring with AI is a one-button port system, where you basically you get the executable and all the assets, and you say to that AI, package this for an Xbox executable, whatever, and the AI will do it. I think that's probably where it'll go, because at the end of the day, like, in theory at least, AI should be well positioned to understand the programming and all the things that are necessary for a port to happen, as sort of with a greater rapidity than a human team potentially could, and also compile that much more quickly. Whether or not that actually works in practice, I have no idea. But Microsoft is trying to bridge the gap between PC and Xbox more than ever with next gen, in the sense that if you develop a PC game, that it will just work on the Xbox platform out of the box, right? But some of the issues with developers bringing games to Xbox isn't necessarily related to porting the game. It's one thing that I often get complaints about from developers is Microsoft certification processes are very strict and very slow. So I often hear that. I also, or at least I did in the past. I don't know if things have improved there. I also hear stuff like, you know, it's I think there was only like last week where Fantasy Life I, which just launched on Xbox, they tweeted out something like, "Oh, our game's delayed on Xbox because of a technical issue on the Xbox side," and I literally think that was them calling out Xbox in public because they couldn't get an answer behind the scenes.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and that's just a guess, by the way. I don't know that for sure. But like other devs have done that in the past as well, where it's like Microsoft's not replying to our emails, so the only way we can sort this out is by go public with it. You know, and Microsoft started training their developers. If we can't get a response via email, then to blast them on Twitter. You know, which suggests to me that there's not a lot of staff who are supporting developers on Microsoft's end. So I think there are issues beyond the simple porting of games um, potentially there, which are holding up indie games coming to Xbox. But I don't know. I think AI will have a role to play there anyway. Next question is from Tricks Off a Tray. I find it odd that Xbox would money hat a game with their new strategy of games going multiplat. Wondering why they did it for Space Marine. We did talk about that earlier a fair bit. I have no idea exactly why it's exclusive to Xbox. I'm guessing it's only a timed exclusive, but because the game's published by Sega, maybe Microsoft was involved in doing the port because Microsoft has a very good relationship with Sega now because of, you know, all their Game Pass stuff. So maybe Microsoft was like, you know, we'll step in, we'll, you know, front some of the money for this so the port can be done. But in exchange for a temporary exclusivity, it's going to come to PlayStation eventually, I'm sure. If not at launch, you know, maybe it's a marketing thing. But so far, no sign of a PlayStation version. Very, very odd. So next question is from Oh My God Turtles 73. Well, let me ask you something, brothers. The Turtles got a question for you. When you were just little dudes growing up, who was the wrestler that made you say, "That's my guy, brother. I need to take my vitamins"? And now, years later, who's the one in the ring today that gets you fired up, Jack? Who's your all-time favorite then, and who's the champ in your eyes now, dude? I think I was supposed to read that in Hulk Hogan's voice, but I refuse. And the one question for chat is, what are you going to do when the XB2 runs wild on you? So, Gaz, are you actively watching wrestling these days? Did you watch wrestling when you were a child?
I did when I was when it was, oh man, back in the day when it was The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Holy shit! We used to watch that so much. It was an amazing time. I don't think it ever went that good. I don't know who Roman Reigns is. Everyone's just really hyped about it. I can still watch it a lot, which I rate it. It must be good, but I can't. For me, generationally, Stone Cold versus Rock era was incredible. Mankind, that steel cage, that he did that thing from he almost he held in the cell. That's it. It broke his back. Crazy. That was crazy.
He broke his spleen. I think
broke his spleen, bro. Hardy Boys.
I remember that as a kid. That's how I discovered what a spleen was. I think as a kid. But yeah, Hardy Boys were crazy as well. Yeah, the product's pretty good these days. I started watching wrestling again a couple of years ago after not watching it for like 20 years. I think the product's pretty good these days. Like I love watching NXT. Like NXT, they are so hungry for it, and because they're all like in their early 20s, the moves they do are just ridiculous. So NXT is like their beginner federation now. It's on a Wednesday on Netflix, and like there's this guy in there called Javon Evans, and he jumps so high, man. He's like so agile and so quick. It's like watching an anime character wrestle. He's fucking crazy. There's a lot of Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the chat. But yeah, I really rate from the modern product. I really love Fraxium. I like a lot of the tag teams right now. The tag team innovation is just fantastic. I really like Fraxium. Nathan Frazier is incredible. I think he's gonna have a really big career. And also a lot of the dudes in NXT, like you know, Javon Evans, I just mentioned. Ethan Page, I want to see to come up to the main roster. Stuff like that. I also love Aleister Black. I never really saw Aleister Black during his first run or when he was Malachi Black in AEW. But Aleister Black is fantastic to watch. He's just so good. He's a Muay Thai fighter. So he does all these crazy accurate kicks and stuff. It's mad watching him wrestle. Really, really cool. But from the back in the day, I really liked, and not a lot of people probably remember him, but I really liked Brian Pillman. He was like right at the start of the Attitude Era. He was feuding with Stone Cold. to my knowledge, he's still the only wrestler who brought a gun into a promo. The dude was mental, and I loved him when I was a kid. I just thought he was crazy. He was like the
Who?
yin to Stone Cold's yang in the late 90s, but then he died because of drugs. So I think if
Who are you talking about?
Brian Pillman,
Brian Pillman. Oh yeah.
yeah, he was in the Heart Foundation with British Bulldog and stuff like that, very briefly. But yeah, Zach Riley's son is in NXT, so he carries the torch. I love Brian Pillman, man. Not a lot of people out there saying like Brian Pillman's my favorite wrestler as a kid, but I was a weird kid. I loved Brian Pillman. He was brilliant. Yeah,
It's a random one.
Son. Yeah, it's random. Jake the Snake Roberts. I love Jake the Snake as well. Jake the Snake was one of my favorite.
Jake the Snake was
wrestlers as a
sick.
kid. Yeah, he was. Many great wrestling memories in the chat right now. So much nostalgia, man. God.
Yeah, man.
Next question comes from Rave Demos. Memorial Day weekend is here. A good excuse to kick back, reflect a little, maybe think about some gaming choices. So I've got to ask, have you ever seriously thought about making the jump to PC? Well, we know Gaz's answer already. Gaz has joined the master race.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know Xbox isn't going anywhere, but Microsoft is clearly pushing this whole Xbox PC #fusion. Given that you're already rocking a beefy 4000 series NVIDIA GPU, what would it take you to fully embrace PC gaming? What would make that switch feel smooth enough that you wouldn't even second guess it? I would love to hear your take. For me, Rave, is because my setup, right, and I don't know what, it's a habitual thing. It's always been like this for me. I've got my console right here. It's right here next to me on the screen. And my laptop is like right here. And they are like completely separate. And I use my laptop for work things. And I like just having the cursor free. So like I do have my laptop connected to my TV with a HDMI cable, and that's how I play some games like Silent Hill 2 and Final Fantasy 16. I played like that in Final Fantasy 7. But I just hate not having full control of my cursor. And I also hate my laptop sounding like a jet engine.
I understand that.
So like when I play a game on my laptop, I have to put it into turbo mode to get, the full fat out of my 4080, which makes it sound like a jet engine. Whereas like I can play 4K games on my Xbox Series X with no sound whatsoever. So for me, it's just like the Xbox is like a more gaming focused experience. Whereas like my PC is like, it's a multifaceted kind of device where I can stream, I can chat. I get distracted a lot by work messages coming in while I'm trying to play games, stuff like that. So I just like to have separate experiences, And I have honestly thought about just getting a second PC to sort of facilitate my habitual attitude towards my gaming setup. But it's also like, why? There's nothing wrong with my Xbox. There's just nothing wrong with my Xbox. It's got everything I want to play. It plays it well. It plays it silent, and that's just about it, really. And I've got the Lenovo Legion Go. Legion Go is down there. If I want to get on some PC games in bed, some indie games that are exclusive, I'd drop it on the Legion Go, or the Z2 Extreme ones that are coming up. So yeah, why did you make the leap, Gaz? Was this a recent thing for you? Because I remember you built your PC on the stream on your channel.
Yeah, it was relatively recent. So I had moved. My brother gave me. I had a 2070 PC. It was crap, and I wanted to build something beastly. But I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to do a 4090. I wanted to go the next big thing, and the 5090 was going to be the next big thing. And we didn't even know what was coming out. So I was waiting for ages, and then my brother gave me his 3080, and I moved in December. But that wasn't a total move. It was still quite nice. The 3080 is a really decent PC. But the 3080 has now become my streaming PC that's connected to my gaming PC, which is this 5090. And it's the first time I've ever done this, by the way. I've never built a PC from scratch and never spent, I've got a spreadsheet. I paid 5-6 grand on this thing. And that was a lot of investment. I've never done that before. And I thought, screw it. Let me just go all in on it, because I'm not happy with the bullshit. I've come to the bro. You have to understand the successive generations of bullshit following the Xbox 360 gen. I have been disappointed constantly, and I've come to the realization that these console boxes are never going to do anything revolutionary. I finally fell into the buzzwords this gen, never again, and it was time to move on to the beast.
Do you think Xbox could bring you back?
No chance. No chance.
Even
no one can bring
Steam
you back.
And all that stuff?
Well, it'll be a supplementary device to my TV if it has Steam. Then it's a nice additive device. I will buy it then. But ultimately, no. It's just like, bruh, I'm telling you, they're like experiencing a box this powerful, this quiet, and just this beastly that runs games in ways I've never seen before. When you run Cyberpunk Path Trace, then I add some mods and it looks insane. Then I'm playing games maxed ultra everything, and it is obviously it's not something everyone wants to do, but such an incredible experience. I'm experiencing peak gaming and working on a really good video. Well, the crowd will be the arbiters of that, but a video on my just experience moving forward, and it's just like, bruh, like the whole industry is telling you to move to PC. Xbox's priority is not console, it's PC. Phil Spencer has said that expressly. Nintendo's new freaking console is mimicking a PC with the mouse. Like, what are we doing here? The PS5 Pro is not doing anything remarkable. The only thing that's going to be remotely interesting for me is if it gets GTA 6 at 60, and I doubt it because of that CPU. Bro, PC is the way forward. Chat, I'm telling you, if it may seem unattainable, save that money, build the PC parts bit by bit, but when you join that source, oh my god, it is. You're gonna enjoy it. It's so nice. You're gonna customize. You guys buy these custom controllers and little skins and shit for your control. Imagine a PC you could just customize to do all kind of madness to make it look as nice as you want, cool as you want. The ceiling is up to you. You don't have to go for the crazy, eye-watering, stupidly priced stuff that I did. Go for a more a modest one, and you'll still decimate consoles out there. And it's just the freedom.
This is the thing. At the end of the day, you can get an Xbox Series S and spend next to nothing and still be able to play most AAA games to an acceptable level. You know, I think like just a lot of people just don't have the means. They don't have the means.
And don't have the appetite to do what it depends on how much not everyone's going to spend about $6,000 on a PC, but at the same time, like some people, but
I just want to like
if you're a Roblox machine. But at the same time, it's a beautiful experience. Like, it's such a nice. I don't regret it one bit. It's the opposite. I was like, holy shit! And I've just told myself, there's no way I'm going to be I'm going to upgrade the moment the 6090 comes out, and I just love it. It's just so nice. It's amazing. And then for me as well, like I know this, I really don't want to keep bringing this up, but a lot of people are asking someone asked me on the social media, why are you going after Microsoft so much? And it's only because of the stuff that's happening across the world. And I really can't ignore it. And I'm trying to tone it down. And I know people don't want me to bring it up, but I have to be honest with you guys. I can't, in good conscience, support a company that behaves that way. I need them to do something different, or separate themselves, or prove without a balance, shadow of a doubt that what they're doing isn't complicit. But other than that, everything came at the right time. Everything came at the right time. I didn't believe in the console vision anymore because they're sold a bill of goods. I want the most eye-watering experience, and luckily enough to have that experience. Yeah. And this was it. So I'm at this awkward place. Like, I've always enjoyed Xbox. Always vouched for the brand since Halo was revealed for the bloody thing. And I've always enjoyed the community of it. But I find myself distancing myself from a lot of it because of those political reasons. And also, I feel like so much glazing happened for stupid reasons. Like, Xbox lost the console war, and you saw like, but we win. And it's like, I'm a console war connoisseur. I love this shit. And I don't know, I can't get over the fact that the company lied to you. Phil Spencer, who saved Xbox, blatantly lied to us. But
the messaging was not good last year. Like that.
Terrible.
I have no idea why they said 4 games. Like, why
when you
say
knew
4 games when it clearly wasn't going to be 4 games? Like, literally nobody, even the most hardcore fanboys didn't accept that it was 4 games. So Not the
It is
text
a bit of a
messages.
silly thing. It's a combination of different things. But it wasn't because of that, like, angry, oh, yeah, Xbox is forsaken, I'm going to buy a PC. A lot of people say that. I was PC tail end of last gen. And I feel like there's so many experiences I'm ready to play with my friends, to play, like, so many different, like, repo and stuff like that, which I'm going to be playing with Alex and them lot. Oh, no, it's Alex soon. Tonight. Then, yeah, I just want this. It's just, for me, it's that's where I want to be. I want to be at PC. And I think a lot of people are going to be there in the future. A lot of people are moving already. So many people have moved to PC.
All Xbox games are going to be there because the next Xbox sounds like it's going to be PC. But
Yeah.
let's move on to the next one. BHO reviews.
Face.
Hey guys. Oh, hang on. We got some super chats. Face 23BKMY says with the $2, I'm happy with my PS5 Pro, Gaz. And then he also said, I'll spend $5,000 on a PC when Sony does day and date with all games. Yeah, I mean,
Face is a very rich guy. This guy donated, I think, to Rand. He donated like 500 quid or something just to get him to buy a Pro, and then Rand just ended up buying books with that money. And Face, you one day you will do it, and I'll hold you to it, and I know you will, and you'll have an incredible PC. The silly thing is though, Face, you're just depriving yourself of incredible quality, bro. What the money you have in your pocket, I don't know what you do. You may be a drug dealer, or you may be a freaking quadruple multi-millionaire business owner. I don't know what you are, but bro, you could experience the most epic experience. I want to drag you into my room and just look at it. Just look at it. This could be you, and more so. But he's too into PlayStation. I can't stop him.
I mean, people play where they want to play at the end of the day.
It's true.
You know, so there's nothing Sony could do to get me. There's nothing. I own hundreds of games on Xbox, hundreds of games.
Yeah.
There is just nothing Sony could do. Like make Last of Us 3 or God of War 10 or whatever. Like make them the biggest bangers of all time. I don't care. I own 1,000 million games on Xbox, and there's plenty that I want to play. I can live without a couple of games. You know, I can live without them.
Yeah.
But anyways, BHO Reviews says, hey guys, just finished Expedition 33 and was blown away with just about every aspect of the game. My turn-based RPG itch is back, and wondering what other RPGs either of you recommend, old or new. Thanks. Well, Lost Odyssey is the obvious pick there, backwards compatible, and you know, a lot of people talk about Lost Odyssey when Expedition 33 blew up. Underrated game, but you've also got like the Dragon Quest games are being remastered right now. Dragon Quest 2 and 3 I think were remastered, and they're supposedly pretty good. My brother really liked them. You've also got the Octopath Traveler games. Shabs Inevitable in chat says apparently Octopath Traveler 2 is much better than 1, but I haven't played 2 yet, but I was really enjoying 1 while I was playing it. But if you're looking for something a little bit less JRPG, like Wasteland 3 is amazing. Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader is also amazing. You know, there's so many. There's an article up on Windows Central, I think, which describes some of this stuff. And if you want to go back to the past, you could emulate a game like Legend of Dragoon, which I think games like Legend of Dragoon and Shadow Hearts, which you can get on emulator, I don't think you can buy them anywhere these days. Those are classic JRPGs, which I think Expedition 33 took a lot of inspiration from, especially Legend of Dragoon with the quick time event combat and stuff. Very, very great game. Very, very great game. But also Breath of Fire, man. If you're going to go, Breath of Fire 4, I think, was just released on Good Old Games and GOG.com, which again, PC Master Race and all that. Breath of Fire 4 is a JRPG from Capcom, and it is one of the best JRPGs ever made, and it is a crime that Capcom hasn't either remade or remastered those games. People in chat talking about Metaphor, Golden Sun, it's also the Chrono Trigger games, the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster games, all those classic games. There's so much stuff to play. So much stuff to play, man.
Never heard of this. Okay.
Yeah. Gaz is too young. You haven't heard of it. Gaz is too young. Legend of Dragoon is
same
on
age as you.
PlayStation Plus, apparently. Yeah, you are. This round is old. JD, let's get through some of these super chats. We've got quite a lot to get through. If you're enjoying the show, smash the like button, my party peeps. We'll do some more super chats and Q&As. Jaded Jagan says, hello again. A quick question from me this week regarding next gen. When the time comes for Xbox to reveal their platform plans, how will they rebuild trust? Setting aside how we feel about latitude in the community, Xbox this generation was sold on great exclusives, great platforms where Game Pass exists. Several quotes from the business update no longer hold water. Not indie, not a fundamental shift, etc. How can consumers take from this era their word next gen? Is this perhaps where diversifying to other PC stores can help it cushion the blow? I do think the
Hmm.
vast majority of addressable potential Xbox customers have no idea what Phil said. I think they have no idea who Phil is. I
Yes.
think it's mostly the hardcore that felt slighted by all this. And the truth is they're not a huge part of the market. They're a very small, probably single percent portion of the market. But that being said, I still think like there are times where like bad messaging can penetrate beyond the hardcore, and we saw this with the Xbox One. Like the Xbox One messaging was so bad, you had like pretty much every single YouTuber writing home about how Xbox was trying to destroy gaming and all that. I don't think that has happened with this to the same level. In fact, I
I think
think
it might though. When Halo comes to PlayStation, you might see
I
similar
don't think
sentiment.
so. I think some of this stuff might even make people more curious about Xbox ecosystem. Like if Halo's coming to PlayStation and then they find out that it's free on Game Pass, I think that creates a sort of a pressure in someone's mind where it's like so many of the games I play now are from Microsoft, whether it's Oblivion, Doom, COD, Halo, whatever. Forza, it makes increasing amount of sense for me to want to get Game Pass, but Game Pass isn't available on my system. So I do think trust is important. Um, I do think trust is important, but I don't think it's as dire as maybe a lot of our perception is. Um, but I honestly don't know how Microsoft can rebuild trust there. Maybe they can't. Maybe it's like, it's sort of like with EA. There's so many times where EA has fucked up and promised the world and then fucked up again and promised the world that I think like a company like EA has gotten to this point where people will just never trust them ever.
Yeah.
They have fully penetrated mainstream with negativity around their brand. They won worst company of the year multiple times. They're renowned for the lowest rated, most downvoted comment in Reddit history. I think something else might have beaten it now, but that for a long time they had the most downranked comment in Reddit history for their comments about uh for their comments about like what was it called, pride and accomplishment or something with regards to microtransactions, stuff like that. I think some companies have gone so far gone they can't come back, but maybe Xbox has hit that point as well with the hardcore. Maybe there's nothing that can bring them back. Maybe the only way that can sort of like build trust again is to just stay consistent, give us the quality, bring the quality games, and don't release another Redfall, and keep Game Pass. The one thing that I've been consistent about is Game Pass in recent years, and the quality of Game Pass has um, just increased over the month. So, maybe that's just the way they do it. I don't know. We'll see. Um,
I feel like Activision always got scot-free versus EA.
yeah,
They
weirdly.
were
I
ones
think
to,
it's because
yeah.
of people loved Call of Duty so much, so all the stuff Activision was doing on the side was. But I did think it
Yep.
got to a point where it was becoming untenable for them. Like Final Fantasy 14 grew at World of Warcraft's expense because the Warcraft fan base was so tired of Activision's bullshit. Um,
No, okay.
in part, there was other reasons too, but Sierra11 Kevin says, "Hi, Rand and Jez," or well, Randy's not with us at the moment, but
He's dead.
he's dead. Yeah, at least digitally dead. No internet for Rand at the moment. Hi, Rand and Jez. As always, appreciate you both. With the retro collection releasing this week, which is a lot of my fun for a grizzle gamer such as myself, the timing for my question was interesting. Last weekend, I was watching a classic episode of Electric Playground with Victor Lucas on, which originally aired back in 2000. During the episode, they interviewed Warren Davis, the creator of Qbert. Victor asked him a question of what it was like developing games during those days. Warren's response was, "We had no rules. We were making up all the rules as we went along. The only thing anybody asked of you was that you try and be innovative. You tried to do something new to grab the audience because the audience was looking for the next new thing. They weren't looking for a copy of the last." How refreshing would it be for today's developers to have that style of freedom, not relying solely on data, but something entirely new? Sierra, I really think this is why you're seeing so much virality on Steam right now, because especially with indie devs, games like,
Yep.
Among Us or Lethal Company, and, a lot of these games maybe didn't stick, but there are so many like viral experiences that aren't AAA on Steam right now because of the freedom that developers have when it comes to publishing games on Steam. And also the pipeline to publish games on Steam. You build a game on your PC, you publish it to Steam. There's no like, you don't have to follow Microsoft rules. There's no certification processes, or they're very light touch kind of certification processes compared to Microsoft and Sony, and sort of the democratization of being an independent developer is driving innovation on PC, which is again driving more and more people to about this kind of stuff. Because personally, I think like that's what's the big thing holding consoles back is how strict they are about what games can be uploaded. So next up we got For the Brand. Welcome back to Patreon, matey. Hi gents, happy Friday. If you could have one retro game ported to Xbox with a modern makeover, what game would it be and why? Mine would be Brute Force. Thanks and have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to pitch this to you guys.
Oh my god! Did you say Brute Force? I swear. Who is it?
A For the Brand. Good friend.
Do you have his address?
What's wrong with Brute Force? I've never played it. I don't know.
Brute Force, man. Why do people say Brute Force? It was, yeah, bro. I bought it. I wanted it to be good. It wasn't.
I never played it. Oh, hang on a second. Was that beat 'em up where you could throw cars and stuff?
No, Brute Force, bruv. Are you on crack, bruv? Brute Force was they had this 4-man team with a lizard, and it graphically looked really good at the time. It was like almost like Halo-like graphics. It's third person.
Oh no!
And you had this like lizard character, and you had a chick and guy. It was just weird. I've completed it. I remember finishing it because I bought it, and games cost a lot back then, for if you were a kid, and it just wasn't good. Even back then, it wasn't that good. People wanted it to be really good, but fair enough, if you enjoyed it.
Retro game.
Did you say what Xbox game would you like to be redone?
Any retro game you want to have a modern makeover?
Oh man, I actually posted today this game, and it was Vigilante 8. Second Offense, which is on N64. Vigilante 8.
Never even heard of that.
Such a good game. It came on the original PlayStation then, and Nintendo 64 one was really good. And the Dreamcast one, I think it was really good. Oh, such a good car combat game. I even told Jaffe I kind of preferred that better than that game because I never played it. I'm like, but no, it was really good. It was you had upgraded the cars. It was so janky, but the jank was so amazing. Oh man, trust me, even today it would work so well if you could play this game. And the soundtrack was just this 80s funk music, and it just so good. You could trigger these weird events. The game never told you, but you could trigger these weird events if you did certain things. Like in one level, a meteor would come out from space, smash into a cinema, and a gigantic ant would go around just terrorizing, destroying all these cars. Amazing. Amazing game. I'd love to see that. There are quite a few games I could go on for ages. But yeah, that's one of them. And I'm going to stop. Actually, before that, I would say Jet Set Radio Future, please. Thank you. Safe.
We're going
to get a sequel of that, or a remake.
I think we're getting a remaster or something from Sega. I can't remember exactly. Maybe it already happened. I don't know. People in chat are saying things like Legacy of Kain, Skies of Arcadia.
Great ones.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain is a good one. Nico says Jet Set Radio is coming back. For me,
it is coming back.
Yeah. Christian said I need Eternal Darkness remade. Yeah, Eternal Darkness was a fantastic game back in the day. A lot of the games that I thought at the top of my head were Blizzard games. So I'd love to see a AAA remake of StarCraft 1. I'd love to see a AAA remake of, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, because they tried to do 3 and it was terrible. So give it another go, lads. I'd love to see those. Other retro games.
Bloody Raw.
Oh, Bloody Raw was great.
You played Bloody Raw?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
me and my brother played those games to death, man. Bakaryu the Mole. Fantastic. I've got all these combos.
The Mole was so annoying.
Yeah. It was great. I used to just constantly teleport behind people. Constantly.
He's so OP.
That's why I play Spinal in Killer Instinct, because he can do the same thing. Just teleport over and over again. Spinal was like most like Bakaryu the Mole. You could do that. You could press like up and square, and he'd do like the flip over the top of their head. That was really annoying as well. So many great games. I mean, it is kind of the. I'd love them to do a AAA remake in the Wasteland engine of Fallout 1 and 2 as well, because I've never really played those, but I think they're kind of too dated to get into, almost for
Yeah.
me. I'd love to see those get remade.
Vagrant Story, that needs a remake.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm literally thinking about Vagrant Story the other day. Vagrant Story needs a remake. It sounds
Absolutely
like
does.
we're getting Final Fantasy IX remade at least. I would also love to see Final Fantasy VI get a modern 3D remake. Final Fantasy VI, arguably, it's not my favorite in the series, but it's arguably the best in the series, I think, overall. So many great games, man. The Shadow Hearts trilogy, man. Remake those. I don't think that dev even exists anymore. Yeah, Shadow Hearts, they were like gothic JRPGs. They were like Silent Hill meets Persona, kind of. They were really fucking
All right,
good,
okay.
really, they were like horror JRPGs. They were amazing, so good. Psychonauts 1, someone said in chat. There's so many cool games, man. So many.
There's so many. Earthworm Jim.
Yeah,
Bring it back.
Earthworm Jim.
There's some games people have never heard.
Earthworm Jim. It was so brutally hard.
It was so brutally hard. It's so dreary playing that game mode. You know how the typical styling was so oppressive.
It was apocalyptic, that game. I got to a level. I think I remember the level where I got to, and it was like there was soil everywhere, or something like that, and there was like sand coming down. I can't remember, and I just got stuck there every single time, and I just like, screw this game. And I think I had to return it to Blockbuster at that point.
Condemned, that's a really good one.
Condemned was sick.
Amazing AI, even for today's standards.
They are making a spiritual success to Shadow Hearts. That's right, and I can't remember what it's called, but they're doing two remake. They're doing two spiritual successors on that. One for Shadow Hearts and one for that Arms game. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, they are crowdfunded on Kickstarter, and I think they're coming to Xbox as well, which is cool. The next question is from Sean Kramer, who says, "Hi gents. Have you noticed on social media this explosion of major celebrities getting involved with mobile game ad campaigns? Kevin Hart, Miley Bobby Brown, Courtney Cox, and Lisa Kudrow from Friends. Is this signaling a major shift in the mainstream gaming market? We've always seen the mobile ads, but now it seems like aggressive marketing. What's your read on it?" The last data I saw was that mobile gaming was flat, and that PC gaming was the one that was growing. So maybe this is a reaction from the mobile game market to be like, oh God, we need more growth, which means let's send Lisa Kudrow out to market the game. I don't know how much Millie Bobby Brown or Kevin Hart could possibly make me want to play a mobile game, but I think that's more desperation than anything else, because the mobile gaming industry is flat last time I looked. It's huge, but it's flat, and flat is no good. In capitalism, everything needs to grow, even if we live in a finite world where, there's actually population declines and shit like that. So I think that's just a sort of extra effort from mobile game industry to try and get more users, but I don't know.
I just had flat. It's not good, and I agree.
Yeah. BMM777 says, "Hey gents, hope all is well. If you had to put some stock into one of these scenarios being real, which one would you believe in? Number 1 versus 100 is coming back. Number 2, Scalebound comes back and Shadow drops at the June showcase. 3, Helldivers 2 eventually released on Xbox. Hope you all have a nice weekend. Keep it gaming and maybe some reading." So, Gaz, what do you think's more likely? 1 versus 100, Scalebound coming back, or Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox?
I would say Helldivers 2, only because that's the only one I actually care about coming back. I don't want the other two. Especially Scalebound, holy shit. I never played one once to 100 and everyone rinsed me for it. So I missed out. But Helldivers, just, I don't know if it's possible or not. I just feel like we talked about earlier on the show, it makes a lot of sense. Sony wouldn't lose out, they would make more money. Arrowhead clearly have a desire to move away from Sony's control anyway. And this could be a little carrot that Sony could offer anyway to maintain a relationship and make money. I'm not saying it was going to happen, but it's just something about it just feels like, yeah, it could happen. By the way, it'd be great for Xbox if it happened. I genuinely think, I don't get the appeal for the game. I played 2 games of that game and I'm just done. I bought it on PC, I just can't be asked to play it.
That feels, yeah. Scarcely Relevant member for 62 months says, throwing in my milestone chat to say we need a remake of Fur Fighters from the Dreamcast, bring back Bizarre
Oh yeah,
Creations and Project Gotham Racing as well. Thanks, Scarcely.
Project Gotham Racing needs to come back, man. Bro, they could do so much with a more closed circuit. Get Project Gotham Racing with the belt. It would be a technical showcase. Do it for the next box, just for the extra pizzazz. But yeah, it would just look so nice, man. We need a Project Gotham Racing game.
Mood. I've never played it myself, but
It's amazing.
Everyone knows
amazing.
I'm not a big racing guy. I agree with you.
Amazing.
Helldivers 2 is probably the most likely scenario in that situation, but we'll see what happens. Next up, we got Silas. Hello, mates. How does it feel to be somewhat internet famous? What I mean is that your community, people you have never spoken to or seen, or have had a glimpse into your lives, and carry on with your personal journeys. For example, Jez recently had surgery. He's gotten well wishes and concern from his fan base. When the financial markets have a bad day, Rand's YouTube millions stress about the impact on his financial portfolio and if he's needed to sell his villa in the south of France to sustain his lifestyle. Nah, it's Silas. I'm constantly grateful for the support that I get shown on social media. I mean, sometimes it's easy to get focused on all the haters. Like, there are still dudes coming up and mentions like, "Oh, you said it was hopium that Xbox's games would go to other platforms." It's like, bro, it was almost 2 years ago now. So aren't you worried
I told
about
this bastard he didn't listen to me.
Aren't you worried about something else now? But like I said, that I was like an offhand comment, like during Christmas when I was off work, reacting to some random discourse, and people really lashed onto it. It is easy to get focused on negative, but like there's so much positive that like I'm constantly humbled by the community, you guys, Patreon supporters, Spotify listeners, YouTube viewers, whether you're on Twitter, whether you drop in occasionally or whether you drop in all the time, like you guys rock and you make this super fun. This has been like the best decade of my life, easily, thanks to you guys.
Nice.
Next question is Dark Grain. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Hey guys, looking forward to the show this weekend. I'm curious if either of you have heard anything about the Honest Game trailer that dropped this week. It seems to take out gaming journalism, but a few years later it appears it was removed. Some people found the transcript, and I have to wonder what happened here. I have not heard about this. I have not heard about this. That's weird they took it down. I haven't heard a damn thing about it. It looks a bit like, did it use AI to put words in people's mouths? Because it looks like they've got certain industry figures like Anita Sarkeesian in it. Maybe they thought, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this because we'll get sued. Because actually, did Trump only this week pass legislation where you could sue someone if they made a deepfake of you? Maybe they took it down for this reason. I don't know if it had deepfakes in it, but maybe it's something around that legislation, and they were like, oh shit, we're giving us grounds to get sued here. I honestly don't know, but I'd never heard about that. But it's funny it says games journalism because a lot of the people in it don't look to be games journalists to me. Anita Sarkeesian isn't a games journalist. Ellie from The Last of Us is an actress. Asmongold is a streamer. So a lot of the people aren't even games journalists. So that's a bit weird. Anyways, I don't know. Culture wars, hey? What awesome every day culture war. Governor Grimm says, Governor Grimm, next one is from Governor Grimm. He says, what's the likelihood that Xbox and Microsoft successfully execute their PC vision? Steam integration of console games on PC is a huge lift. They have a pretty spotty track record when it comes to PC integration, like games for Windows Live and the Xbox PC app. Why will this time be any different? I completely agree that, and Rand has said this himself, that execution is key. Rand has said this before, and Microsoft does have a spotty track record with regards to nailing the details when it comes to anything related to PC. Like only yesterday, I reported a bug about the new compact mode for the Lenovo Legion Go. You can press, you can open the game bar for compact game mode on the Legion Go, but if it's not the active window, you can't manipulate it with a controller. So it's like, it's pointless. Because if I have to tap the screen every time to make it the active window, it defeats the point of being able to navigate with my controller, right? So obviously a lot of this work's ongoing, and Windows is a nightmarish platform to build things on top of. I think that they need the deep commitment from the Windows team to really make this great, rather than just build things and put it on top of it and hope for the best. But we just got to wait and see. Maybe things have changed. Maybe they really are going to focus on the details, because it's really crucial to their vision here, and I don't think they can afford to half-ass it. But we'll see, man. Kraken56 says, "Hey guys, we know the first party lineup for the showcase will be very strong. My question for both of you is, what third party games do you want or expect to see that are realistic? I wonder if the third party support could be stronger now with Xbox embracing multi-platform and showing other console logos in their show. I wonder if this makes it more attractive for games to be in their showcase because of the marketing aspect. I would like Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra gameplay and the new Persona reveal." Third-party games at the showcase, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think we can expect Silksong. I'm highly expecting Square Enix and Final Fantasy to be there. Me and Rand had a back and forth last week and see about whether or not Battlefield would be there, because Xbox often gets Battlefield because Sony had the marketing for Call of Duty. And now Sony doesn't have
That's
the
true.
marketing for Call of Duty anymore, and Battlefield technically competes with Call of Duty and technically competes with Microsoft. So like, I was sort of like, this could go one of two ways. It could either be like, okay, well, Battlefield's gonna work with Sony now, and because they're competing with Microsoft, or Microsoft could throw them a bag and be like, no, look, even though we have Call of Duty, we're still gonna support our, publisher partners' games. So I don't know. I'd like to see the new Battlefield there as well, personally, like fully reveal with gameplay, and maybe they just throw in a little tease like, oh yeah, actually we're getting rid of the weapons for every class, something like that.
Please do that.
Yeah, I want to see them address community feedback, because Battlefield is supposed to be a class-based game where your squad works together and people don't just run off going solo. That's where Battlefields always work best, and that's where it always will work best. And when they threw that out the window, the game started feeling like not as good. So I want to see Battlefield there.
How can you say, oh, we're going to go and rely on the strengths of the legacy titles, the Battlefield 2, 3, and 4, and then go back in one of the biggest things that you did was copy the 2042's formula, which is the worst thing, the most complained about thing. It's like, why? How can you say that? They're mutually exclusive comments, because that class-based setup is so intrinsically linked to the enjoyment that people had and the dynamic that you had on that class-based stuff. It was really good having a mix of different classes and then having those access to those weapons, and it has been thoroughly shot down. I don't understand why they even thought that was a good idea to greenlight in the first place, but if they're going to change that would require a thorough reworking of the entire game design, which means that that it won't be as well designed as it should be anyway. So it's a big L. I don't know if they can walk it back. If they walk it back, they'd have to work extra hard to rework their systems to accommodate that. Otherwise, balancing and all of that bullshit, none of it. Well, so I don't know if they can even do it. I don't even know if they can go back and do a U-turn on that. So it remains to be seen. You know what I mean?
What third?
But I reckon, by the way, on the point of the Battlefield thing, I think they might still have an Xbox association. I don't think.
Yeah, I think so too.
That might stop.
I think they will too. But like, what other third-party game would you want to see? Maybe
GTA 6. No, that's definitely going to PlayStation. A third-party title that isn't GTA 6 to be shown, because that thing just dominates everything. What's a big third-party title coming out this year? Like a big one.
I don't know.
I can't even think of them. Am I going crazy?
A lot of them are just Microsoft.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Mafia remake? Well,
Mafia looks really good.
Is it a remake? Or is it a new game? I can't remember.
There's a new game, man. It looks sick. I've never played a Mafia game, but this looks incredible. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it as well. Yeah. Because I was until, I think Blaze or someone mentioned it. It was crazy. Snake Eater, thank you so much. That's a big one.
Snake Eater.
Yeah, Microsoft has typically shown that off quite a few times to the annoyance of MBG. What else?
I would love it.
Borderlands, I don't give a shit about that with Sony. Yeah. Anyway.
I would love it if we got the first.
I hope it fails.
I would love it if we got...
I'm sorry, you can call me a prick. I hope it fails because of Randy Pitchford.
Oh yeah. Oh God, we didn't even talk about that. Randy Pitchford's comments
Oh,
about
yeah.
the you're not a real fan if you can't spend $80 on Borderlands 4 or something like that.
That's
That was like,
so stuck on his ass.
how deep do you want to put your foot in something, man? That's like
Bro, like, even if
crazy.
it's true to a certain degree, why would you even say it like that? Even though, especially considering the history you have, the legacy this guy has in the space as a sleazy little pompous, just absolutely sanctimonious piece is profound. Profound. And then what do? You just double down because I'm going to show everyone that I really am a prick by making this statement. Oh yeah, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to pay for it anyway. I'm like, right, okay, brilliant. And I'm sure there's more than other great people that worked on it. And for me to say I want the game to fail is really selfish and just shitty. But I hate Randy Pitchford, and I'm being completely honest with you. I would just the first one to go in his face, minus the megaphone sound. Just say, like, if it flopped, because I'm like, you deserve that. You, Randy, your team don't. You do. Just like, even if it's true, like, okay, obviously, like, my hardcore fans will go and leap to it, but just to say that, Mr. Alien Isolation guy, shut the flip up, man.
Yeah, it was a weird.
I still like him.
But oh well. I think there's quite a lot of stuff that could show up there. It would be really cool if we saw the first glimpse of Final Fantasy 17 there, just to sort of make up for how badly Square Enix has treated Xbox fans in recent years. Maybe the next Dragon Quest we see there or something. I think that'd be cool. And we finally have one more question from Omen. I think it's the last question. Just going to refresh real quick. Yeah, last question from Omen. Happy Friday and hope recovery is going well for you, Jez. If Microsoft were to actually put all Steam games on Microsoft Store, do you think Microsoft would even bother to maintain their own Microsoft Store in the long term? Seems like people would have very little incentive to buy games from the Xbox and Microsoft Store if Steam was an option. Well, my argument against that would be, you can get a lot of stuff through the Microsoft Store that isn't available on Steam, like Riot's games, some of Blizzard's games that aren't available on Steam, stuff like that. So I think Microsoft does want the Xbox Store to still be a destination for buying games on Windows, even if like they are gonna open it up to other storefronts and pass through all that payment system. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like how Apple has just been forced to open up their ecosystem to other payment methods, which excludes their fee and their payment methods in their entirety. So I do think Microsoft will maintain their store. I think it'll incentivize them to work harder to provide value through their store. And obviously PC Game Pass is run through the Microsoft Store as well. So I don't think they'll ditch their own store. They've invested a ton into it. And also, at the end of the day, what if someone buys Steam, and then Microsoft's put all its eggs in one basket, right? So I can't see them getting rid of the Microsoft Store, just like I can't see them getting rid of Battle.net or anything like that. It's a destination where people buy games from. It's a lot bigger than people think it is, honestly. I wish Microsoft...
And it'll always be shit.
It's gotten a lot better recently. They're switching the download framework to another delivery method, which should make the downloads faster and more reliable too. So I think it is getting there. It's getting there. It's taken a long time, but they've had to capitulate on a lot of things and a lot of politics internally to sort of get certain things fixed. Because I remember when they first started this project, Windows 8 wasn't even designed to deliver games. And it was like, oh, Windows 8 can't even recognize packages that are above 10 gigabytes or something. I remember like the debacle when Quantum Break first launched on the Microsoft Store, and the Microsoft Store was confused because it was like, how can a package be this big? I have no knowledge of how to deal with a package this big. So it has been a very, very long, strange trip, but I don't think they'll get rid of it. I don't think you should count them out just yet. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be the show. Obviously, we had a lot of technical issues this week. I really want to thank Gaz for jumping in to help me make the show this week. I'm not particularly great at hosting. I'm not particularly great at going solo. So thanks a ton for that, Gaz. Gaz, do you want to let people know where they can find you on the webs? And we'll put this in the description as well.
Oh, wicked. Thank you. Oh, you were a great host. What are you talking about? It was really good just talking to mates. That's why it was pretty chill. So it was really nice to hang out with everyone. Really enjoyed with the communities. You can check me out on Septic Source. I'll be doing a live show tomorrow where I will be talking about all this stuff with Blaze 4K, a PlayStation piece of which is because I like to invite all manner of ponies and bots together to talk shit. Yeah, which is great fun because there's such a clique on the internet that everyone almost hates everyone. So yeah, it's so true, isn't it? So I got that, and yeah, just check me out there. And I'll be playing some Repo with on the Salt Shakers, which is a channel that has been waiting for me to play with them, called Salt Shakers. Check him out. I know Alex hosts it, and he's such a peasant of a PC gamer. It's about time someone joined and actually showed him how it's done. So thank you so much. I know my voice can be annoying, and I'll be a really annoying piece of shit. I don't care. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I love you guys all. Smash the like button. Safe.
Thank you, Gaz. And you can always check us out on Patreon. It's free, and that's where we tend to post a lot of our, Patreon news, our podcast news. So like you can find out about, issues with the stream and stuff like that. And also on Discord, discord.gg/XB2. Also check out Surfshark VPN in the description. 86% off. I think it works out to something like $1, $2 a month, something like that, for a completely log-free VPN. It's a very, very good service. I use it myself. And yeah, whether you've listened on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever else, thanks a ton for joining us. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Peace.